Stockholm syndrome you into crate
Yeah,
chips.
they're trying to gaslight me into eating crayfish chips.
All right, I think we could probably go ahead and just start talking about shit because my god, since the last time we've met, there's a lot to talk about, you guys. Again, Ministry of Science number 18. This is going to be, I think, our second or our third like news, current events type episode. But damn, I guess we could maybe start off with the Elon stuff because that's still pretty topical and fresh and ongoing. I think to maybe like recap it for chat. I mean, at the very least, all I know is that Elon made some mogul moves, as Ludwig would say, to try and get enough money to just straight up buy Twitter, so that way he can do whatever he wants with it. I'm sure there's a lot of details I'm leaving out there, but that's kind of prompted a lot of discourse about free speech and censorship and what billionaires should and shouldn't be able to do. So I guess just having said that, does anybody have any immediate thoughts on what the fuck?
I mean, I think we got a serious fucking problem with this. I've said this for a really long time about how our media environment is like controlled by these elites. God damn, I sound like I'm in QAnon. But they get to frame the public discourse, and this is just kind of the new iteration of this kind of stuff.
I 100% thought this was going to be a rug pull type situation. I didn't think he was going to go through with it. I thought this was a situation where like he got like 10%, 15%, whatever it was, stake in the company, and then he was going to overinflate the value and then pull. I figured this is a classic crypto bro move. But no, he did the damn thing, so surprise, surprise.
Yeah, no, I know, what the fuck? Didn't he take out like a bunch of money against Tesla? Like, didn't he take out a loan with Tesla stock as collateral or some shit?
Yeah, that was the final tipping point that made the board decide, okay, this guy is serious. He's got the capital to make this stuff happen.
Yeah, I saw a good Vice headline the day it happened. It was like, richest man on earth gets what he wants.
Now, wait, is he the same person who got the Scandinavian country, to build a new bridge for his
No, that was
yacht?
Bezos.
Oh, okay.
He had was it Denmark? I don't remember the country. He had them take down like a historic bridge so he could sail his yacht through and then rebuild it.
These guys are just unashamed. Unashamed. I mean,
oh yeah.
God. Just
I actually want to look that up. Hold on.
Elon's been consistently selling stock of Tesla since November. So openinsider.com. It's probably the best insider trading website, in my opinion. So he's been like selling a large percentage. I mean, we're talking like $170 million at a time. And he sold it all in between November and December. So he's still...
Oh, I was just going to say, I could... I thought you were done, Greg. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
I was just going to say, I can tell you how the QAnon folks are spinning it in the Fox Newsosphere. So in Foxland, they're spinning it as, and particularly the massive increase of conservative politicians, they're spinning it as basically Twitter has stopped censoring the far right and other conservatives. And the QAnon folks are really excited because they think that this is going to basically bring back the movement.
How though? Because I guess how can they spin it that way? Because so far, all of the disinformation stuff that Elon has been talking about is that like it's going to upset the far right and the far left. So like, where is the spin coming from?
They just found another chud to cling on to. That's all. I mean,
true.
Trump was just out of the limelight too long, and so they're like, okay, we need another daddy. Elon Musk.
I approve that take. That's a good take.
Thank you.
Well,
It means
but
a
I mean,
lot coming from Professor Q himself.
Yeah.
Don't you have 4chan, 8chan posts to write? Like, come on.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, like, is Elon going to unban Trump from Twitter then? Like, what's happening there?
I mean, if you're Trump, why would you, right? He has Truth Social, and he has actually a stock, right? DWAC, that's been doing really bad. All tech stocks have been doing really bad for the last like 6 months, but I don't know. Like the clout and the whole point of Truth Social is that Trump is on there. So if he goes and starts going over to Twitter, I don't know if that really improves his stock and what his investments.
He should do it. Trump should just get back on Twitter. That'd be so sick.
I forget people actually pay attention to the stock market.
True.
Sorry, I'm in like a mood today. I don't know what it is. The Adderall's wearing off early or something. I don't know. Apologies. It's a little late, but
I mean, we were on a panel, I think like a week or two ago, before all of this went down, and there was a couple like ideas of what would happen. Like, is this the return of free speech? That was kind of the conservative outlook on it. Like, you know, Elon Musk is a benevolent billionaire who believes in the values of free speech. There were those who were like, well, nothing's going to happen of this. Like, what's the difference between a group of 12 shareholders or at the head of a board that are in control of this platform and one? And then the other side of it was, well, we're talking about consolidation of power and taking a company that journalists, people within media use as a kind of record keeping or information sharing platform. And now it's consolidated under one person who's very critical of people who are critical of him. Good example of that is like the time he offered $5,000 to a student in Florida to take down the profile that tracks private jets, or the journalist
his private jet. It wasn't just
his private jet.
jets. It was his.
Yeah, his private jet.
Well, I mean, the whole point of Musk taking Twitter private is that he's not going to have that board anymore.
Right.
So
If he goes full on free speech, it's just going to be 4chan or 8chan.
Oh,
Like,
God.
you're going to see all the shit. And
Yeah.
but who's going to
Lots of
advertise
TV
there?
coming.
That's the problem. Is that, I mean, he wants to
Exactly.
try to like make money with it probably and sell ads, and I don't know if unless they do the individualized ad model that YouTube has, which is like a huge thing, but they could.
it depends on if he's going to live up to what he said he's going to do with the free speech, which I can't see him doing, because if he did that, like all gas, no brakes, did it, no one would advertise on that app anymore.
There were a couple positive things that I saw coming out of this, though. One thing was he was going to make the algorithm public that Twitter uses, and I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. And the other thing I saw was all users are going to be verified, which hopefully would cut down on the bots and spam. But also, like, wow, talk about the access of information this guy's going to have on the population.
Yeah.
There's a link I just put in ministry only, but I think
Ooh.
this kind of goes back to something that I think a couple of you have mentioned in terms of like what the user base is going to be like in a post Elon takeover Twitter. Interestingly, and I'll read this off to chat. When Elon announced he was doing this, a bunch of celebrities, especially a bunch of like more quote unquote liberal leaning, popular figures, lost followers. I don't know if that's. I think what he's insinuating is that
Like
was a
hundreds of
genuine.
thousands.
Yeah, I think it was. Katy Perry lost 200,000, but
Taylor Swift lost 100,000.
Marjorie
Wait,
Taylor
what?
Greene gained 90,000. Jair Bolsonaro also gained a similar number. So it seems like there's an organic like people fleeing in mass because of what might be to come that are more left leaning, but then because of what people perceive to be how Elon is going to run the platform, you get a bunch of right leaning people join. So it seems like Twitter is now taking a pretty big rightward turn as Elon's doing this, which I think goes back to what Amber said. This is going to be more, I guess, 4chan like, just by virtue of who the users are now. Like it kind of feels like a turning point in the platform in its existence, so to speak.
Would you say that, or would anyone here say that like Twitter has a like left wing bias? Because that's the thing I often hear, at least within this space.
I deleted my Twitter account because I got so sick of academic Twitter. So I'm totally out of the loop.
I'm gonna look it up, but I've heard that more leftists get banned than like conservatives.
Yeah.
All the studies that I've read says there's more censorship of right-leaning and left-leaning ideologies than right-leaning ideologies.
Yeah, so I mean, actual data supports that for sure. But it's interesting. It goes back to culture war rhetoric. How Elon has to step in. Like he tweeted that dumb political spectrum thing with the stick figures today or yesterday. I can't remember when.
Do I have to follow Elon on Twitter now?
You might, dude.
As soon as you make an account, you're just default following him. Oh,
yeah,
God.
just like
like Tom from MySpace.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, thank you, Mitch, for linking that tweet in chat. I'll dump it in ministry only, just to show you if you haven't seen it yet.
What's up, Mitch?
What in the world?
Yeah, Elon's literally making the tolerant left dragged me farther right argument. Therefore, I have to buy the entire platform. Like, what the fuck is that?
There's going to be like Twitter Premium, Twitter Platinum memberships now.
Me.
Why, isn't there already Twitter
you already
Blue?
sent out
Yeah, they
2
already do.
tweets today. If you want to send more,
Yeah.
pay $10 a month.
Oh, shoot
In
me.
order to be critical of
In a video game.
Elon Musk more than 2 times a day, you must subscribe.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Subscriptions to people's Twitters.
What if we do Twitter, but on the blockchain?
Oh,
NFTs on Twitter? I didn't
Yeah.
even think about that.
please
already
insert
kinda have
0.1 Dogecoin to tweet.
Yeah,
you try
Dogecoin's
that
going
already?
crazy ever since he bought Twitter. People
Oh,
think
is it
that's
really?
going to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, don't they have the oh god, like the hexagon profile picture?
I think that's Twitter Blue.
Oh, okay.
Not 100% sure, though.
So yeah, somebody just linked in chat the Indiana University study. By the way, they have some very interesting data about online life. So it's the Center for Complex Networks and Systems Research, and according to them, it's got a conservative rather than liberal bias. And 2, it results from user interactions and abuse rather than platform algorithms. That's interesting.
Because like a lot of the Republicans are more likely to share and send bot news,
What?
basically completely fabricated disinformation stuff. So it would kind of make sense that there would be more bots sharing more conservative Republican news and stuff like that. So therefore, you would have to on total, there would be more bots that were taken down sharing Republican ideas in general.
I mean, it's not surprising. It just is going to make me more upset when people use the good old culture war, they're trying to silence us fucking take. And it doesn't matter what you say to them, but still, it's just going to make me more upset because I know that the data does not.
Yeah, I mean, they do that by default, right? Like, that's what they do,
Yeah.
is claim that, the censorious Twitter libtards are silencing their free speech. And I think it's actually, I remember reading that particular Twitter employees were targeted by right-leaning folks because of said perceived censorship. It wouldn't surprise me, but, goddamn, if that's true, what's in store for Elon owned Twitter? Is he going to be able to just weaponize the user base of the platform against people he doesn't like?
Oh yeah.
Pretty
Oh
much.
yeah.
And it turns out he was the real Q all along.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, here's in the abstract of that paper, Professor Q. Partisan accounts, especially conservative ones, tend to receive more followers and follow more automated accounts. Conservative accounts also find themselves in denser communities and are exposed to more low credibility content.
Of course.
That's the most mild way of framing it. Low credibility content.
Well, that's kind of like the problem with, like the SEC violations and stuff like that. People say like, oh, the IRS is cracking down disproportionately on conservatives and the GOP. And it's like, well, yeah, because there's more super PACs that are committing crimes or out of
Doing
their
fraud.
Yeah, exactly. Outside. So it's just, it logically extends that would make sense.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I think Chat asked a good question, and this is kind of an open question to anybody. Is this going to create sort of a vacuum, like a power vacuum of sorts, or just like a general like user vacuum? And if so, who is going to fill sort of the void being left on Twitter by people fleeing? We kind of already alluded to that with the more like right-leaning public figures getting follows, but like, is it bots? Is it genuine? Like, what is the user base going to look like from now on?
So your question kind of indirectly touches on something I've been wondering for a long time, because I've been on this whole detox from social media other than Twitch. And I realize like how much information gets funneled through places like Facebook that used to get funneled through different channels, right? And I wonder if maybe we might see or could see some kind of like leftist alternative pop up. No? You shaking your head?
No.
Even if it did, it wouldn't be very popular.
Yeah.
It wouldn't make a lot of money or any. So.
Well, thanks for smashing my hopes and dreams. Fuck.
Well, like Signal, so like Signal is kind of a version of that, right? That's what often like activists will use for trying to avoid like police monitoring their communications, or like outside actors monitoring it. But the problem that exists with these the social media platforms like Parler, Telegram, whatever Gab is, and everybody's gonna know where I get this take from, but there's no libs to own. There's no conflict, right?
True.
And I think there's truth to that. Like, okay, so we have a platform for like just Trump lovers and like people who are like staunch conservatives,
Or even leftists, like just for leftists.
Yeah.
Like, what would Twitter be if you couldn't retweet stupid shit?
right? Well, like it kind of, I don't know, maybe it'll work for leftists because leftists love fighting each other. But I mean, it wouldn't be the same because I love doing Hogwatch. Like, one of the main reasons that I have a Twitter is so that I can, look at ridiculous right-wing watch posts. So maybe it would work for leftists, but I just don't see any kind of future in that.
I think that kind of explains why like True Social and Parler and whatnot, like they really didn't have any sort of, I guess, like large takeoff, right? Like they didn't become massive hubs for right-leaning people because, at the end of the day, if they all just circle jerk and then they agree, like, all right, what happens after that? I didn't actually think of it. What happened?
Do you want to know my theory for like what the purpose of Truth Social was?
Ooh, let's hear it.
Email list for 2024.
Oh, God.
That's been
I
floated
could believe
around.
that. Well, especially because like
I mean,
the people who populate websites like that are probably gullible.
They're diehards. They're ride or die.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, it's obviously surrounded by Trump being there, and that's like his only platform. So that means that he's not going to want to go to Twitter again. I mean, why would he? It doesn't make any sense.
Dude, he like never posts on it.
Yeah, but that's the whole.
wanna see my
You're
kid
right,
post.
but comparatively, why would he? Even though I think that so I think Trump as a person would love to be on Twitter again. because that's where he got all these followers. He probably looks at his numbers like on Truth Social or whatever, and is like, these suck. Like he's all about those numbers and all that kind of stuff compared to the millions and millions that he had on Twitter, even if half of them were bots.
Yeah,
which
it's a relevancy platform.
I had
exactly.
heard Trump didn't actually have a True Social account. Did he finally bite the bullet?
He posted like 6 times on it.
Oh, wait, that's it? He's only done whatever the equivalent of a tweet is
on it.
Well, so yeah. Well, then what the? Yeah. Okay. If he's not as active on that as he was on Twitter, that's absolutely for an email list. There's no other fucking reason, dude.
Yeah, like he did one for Easter. He did one for.
Happy Easter, you good Christian, beautiful people.
Oh, it was so funny. It was like
You
Happy
amazing,
Easter to everyone,
great.
even the radical left, even though they hate Easter. It's some shit like that.
That's bringing
I
back
went around
even the
saying-
haters tweet.
I went around saying Happy Zombie Jesus Day, so I mean, I guess I fit in that category.
Yeah, so I mean, someone in chat brings up a good point too. Like Trump loves the attention and sort of the ability to wield his political base to do his bidding. We had a whole insurrection about that.
Yeah.
But like part of me thinks he would relish the opportunity to actually be on Twitter again. Right? They already collected all those emails for Truth Social. They probably squeezed enough juice out of it to where they'd be content with shutting it down. No.
I don't think so, dude.
They're shutting down Truth Social, yeah.
They're. I mean, I think the intention, like, I think making it a stock and making it a public company is pretty interesting, considering that Trump never. I mean, Trump's all his businesses that he had, they were never public, so he never had any type of board or anything to kind of like rein him in. So it is kind of weird for them to take that public. I don't think that he's like the CEO, of that company, but he's kind of like the figurehead of it.
The reporting that I heard from Will Sommer said that they thought, they couldn't confirm this, that it was just another one of these Trump companies where he was getting paid to basically put his name on it.
Like Trump University?
Exactly, yeah, yeah.
So for Namesake's actually making a really good point that it might be
Namesake
part of
and email.
True, actually. Jesus Christ. It might be like a strategy to play with True Social stock. Like that might be something to like pump and dump as well on top of everything else.
It does seem like, I mean, the only thing I could see a possible future with True Social is like, that's the campaign mailer. Like that's where you can like get all the updates for like, hey, like where's the Trump bus gonna stop next? And maybe the only connection that Trump will have with Twitter if he never rejoins it is like, you can see like live tweet updates or live Twitter updates, kind of like some people's like websites will have. You'll have like your oh god, what's the thing everybody has right now?
Mailing list?
I don't know. It's some kind of like offshoot platform.
Oh, Parler. No.
Parler.
Yeah.
I don't know, but people have like, you can see like live tweet updates on the website. Like maybe that.
I love the young people.
So what Namesake's talking about there is basically a SPAC is it's like a buying company. They're going to be merging with DWAC, which is Digital World Acquisition Corporation, which is a separate company than Truth Social. So what that means is that they have investments, and DWAC is getting all this money, and it's called the pipe and all this technical jargon, but I'll leave it out. But the point is that they're going to actually merge, and that's what Namesake's talking about, and that they still need to merge. The DWAC, the stock ticker needs to switch over to whatever Truth Socials is going to be, and that's when the company is actually finally, they merge. But I mean, they've already filed stuff with the SEC. It's already going. If they just rug pull that and then it doesn't happen, I mean, we're talking like serious financial problems, I would think. I mean, it could not go through. It's not a finalized merger yet. There still is that possibility, but how long have they known? There's going to be all this publicity. So that's kind of like what it is.
Yeah, thank you for actually explaining that. I'm a fucking moron when it comes to stocks. I don't understand all of the socially
Same.
constructed happenings
Money's
that go
fake.
around.
Yeah, SPACs.
Literally,
So
it
yeah,
feels like
SPACs. It's
that.
like how are you going to take your company public, right? That's kind of like the whole idea with SPACs. And SPACs is like a separate way, another way to go take your company public, and saying that like I'm not going to go the standard route of like of having a private buying scenario and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to have a merger with an already public company. And it was kind of like seen before 2020. It was kind of seen as kind of like a weird way of like your company's not doing that well kind of thing. It'd be like, oh, you're not big enough in order to go public on your own. You need to merge with another company. But it's kind of like emerged since 2020 as a way for like a company that is already making a product to kind of just go public. And that already has numbers, that already have producing revenue, that kind of stuff. So this is how like Lucid, which is a new electric vehicle company in the United States that just did that's probably the biggest SPAC to date. But I would say since like 2020, SPACs have become less and less popular just because of that huge SPAC boom that's happened has kind of like died out.
SPAC sounds like a condition.
Yeah, it is
Got
kind
a
of
bad
weird.
case of the specs.
Oh god, my specs are acting up again.
Oh, can you give me the
Where's my
orthotic shoes?
inhaler?
My orthotic shoes for my specs.
Yeah, it was weird because there was kind of like this era of these guys being like, I can take your company public kind of thing, and kind of like this cult of personality around a couple of the big people. And they say, I have this SPAC, I can take any company big, I'm going to make it really big for you. You don't have to worry about it. And now they're called like blank check companies. That's like another word for them. But now they've kind of like died out, and they're, the values kind of like haven't happened for a lot of them. ChargePoint is another one. ChargePoint is you see their electric vehicle charging stations around. There's been a couple of other big SPACs that have kind of like died out. So
What does this stand for again?
Special Purpose Acquisition Company.
Okay.
So it's just like another route to take your company. So you have a private company. How are you going to take it public? That's kind of that's what it's answering. The question is, do you take it, public yourself, or do you actually merge with an existing company? And that existing company that's already public is just going to write a blank check and basically buy out your company, and then merge them together and get a bunch of investors in and do a private kind of like buying of the stock of the financials in order to get more money. So because the idea is like you become a public company, and then you still have some money left over. That's the kind of like the whole idea. You already have your money. You already have like cash that you can now spend. That's kind of like the goal, or what people talk about, why they would want to choose SPACs.
Okay. So instead of going through like is it like an ICO? Then you
IPO,
would do,
yeah.
Okay.
Initial public offering, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so not ICO, IPO. Got it. Okay.
So, Greg, someone from chat brought this up, and you might be able to answer this because I think you're at least a little bit more financially savvy than I am. How does the term, or I guess phenomenon of a corporate raid or a corporate raider play into this? Like, is that basically what we're seeing with Twitter? Is Elon just trying to pump up Twitter stock value? Like, is this a money-making venture, or is this solely about free speech?
I mean, they're gonna buy out all the shares of Twitter, or it's all going to go. You're gonna get if you have it in your portfolio, basically you're gonna get $53.5 per share, and that's it. You're just gonna get that money in your portfolio, and it's not going to be a ticker anymore. So, like for example, Slack was a public company, and then it got bought out by Salesforce, and now the ticker work just doesn't exist. It just you got that money as market value into your portfolio, and that was it. And
oh, that makes some sense.
Okay, so technically, if you bought Twitter when it dipped down, at $50 before he announced, then yeah, you could like, okay, you have that like little wiggle room between 50 and 53. You could have bought some out of the money call options to, get there and make some money, but that would be like insider trading, and that's technically illegal. So
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, I mean,
technically.
that's.
Well, I mean, it's a fair thing to ask, just to like get a more grounded sense of what the fuck, because as it pertains to the stock market, like I have no idea. Like that's all I really know is that there's shares involved.
Like I said, money's fake.
Yeah, well, and I think crypto is also being mentioned again. Like, I don't know if Elon's gonna weaponize Twitter too to like pump up other investments. Is that something we should expect too?
I mean, he's wreaked havoc with several things through Twitter, so why should we expect him to stop now?
I mean, there is an interesting, like Dogecoin has a like 38% of the market share of Dogecoin is bought by one person. We don't know who that is. There is some speculation that might be Elon Musk because he like pumps it so much and that kind of stuff. So there is like a weird spot where he says it's not him. Or that he doesn't own it or something like that. He's like, nobody believes that though. I don't believe that he doesn't own any Doge. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Jesus Christ. Dude, imagine if all of this was literally just for a fucking Shiba Inu coin. Like,
oh god,
An old, outdated meme.
It would-
havoc on Twitter.
I kind of agree with Hassan's take in that as someone who is, self-proclaimed neurodivergent, he is awful at shit posting, and this almost feels like we're just trapped in like this massive spectacle of a shit post with this acquisition.
Oh, sorry. I just want to correct what I said. I was wrong. He says that he owns Dogecoin, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. So I don't know, but we don't know what his wallet is or anything like that. That's technically the safe way to do it. So when you make like if you're a creator or you're one of the co-owners or creators of these cryptocurrencies, you make your wallet public so that everyone kind of knows what your holdings are, that you're not actually holding, like a secret stash of this kind of stuff.
I thought all of them were already public.
What was that?
I thought your wallet was already public, or is that just
so it's
your
randomized.
transactions are public?
It's like it's a randomized hash. So the transactions are all going to be stored on the blockchain, but the wallet ID is going to be so you can say wallet 17543 transferred to 75496. But who is that? What is that number? Who owns that wallet? Nobody knows.
Ooh.
Are you into crypto, or is this just like a curiosity that you enjoy learning about?
I think that there's some utility to it. Like I mean, I've in 2020, I like a lot of people, I got a master's in finance, I guess, when I was learning how to trade stocks and stuff. So,
who among us did not?
So I kind of like just like messed around with it, learned how to options trade and that kind of stuff.
You ever check out CoffeeZilla?
That's a great channel.
He's on my YouTube. Yeah, he's on my. Yeah, he's good. I think crypto in general though it's just like an interesting technology. I think that's being developed. I don't think it's like the savior of everything or anything like that, but it's I do think it's an interesting like next generation way of looking at monetary money policy.
Okay.
I don't think it's going anywhere. In fact, it was on NPR today. They were talking about how they're trying to figure out what regulations to put in place, but by doing that, they're actually maybe signaling to people that, hey, this is an okay thing.
Yeah, I welcome that. I mean, there's a lot of like, I don't know. I mean, there's a couple of different ideas on that. I mean, it's kind of like crypto right now is basically kind of like the internet in 1995. Anyone can make a website, anyone can do anything on that website. And so you have a lot of cryptos that are being made now, like with exactly what I was talking about, where they're not making their owners transparent, their wallets transparent. And then what happens is a lot of people buy into this because of influencer stuff. And then it's called like a rug pull. What people call it is basically they just sell the owners sell everything that was, everyone didn't know that they had all this stuff, or they said that they had sold already and that they are using it as a seed fund. And then people are losing a lot of money. So the good, reputable cryptocurrencies have these things called white papers. White papers are published when you're creating the cryptocurrency to say this is our it's basically monetary policy. How are we going to create these things? Is there an infinite amount of them? Who is going to govern this? Is it going to be who's going to own it? Who's going to make changes to this? So there's thousands of cryptocurrencies now. So just like there's thousands of different websites.
So
Well,
back
go
to Elon, there's an article that I posted in the Discord, but totally forgot about. I can't believe I forgot about this. It was crazy. So I think I mentioned that 17 is like a popular number in QAnon because Q is the 17th letter of the alphabet. So one of the things that the QAnon folks have been doing is going through Elon Musk's tweets and trying to figure out which tweets correlate to number 17. And
Whistle farming, okay.
Yeah, so ever since Q stopped posting, numerology became kind of a big part of QAnon. Not that this is numerology at all, but they've been looking for like symbols from Trump, symbols from GOP leaders, and this is just kind of another iteration of this kind of stuff.
Be right back.
Do you think they're gonna try and like read tea leaves the same way with shit that Elon says now that he is going to like own the platform?
I mean, they are kind of looking for a leader. So QAnon basically fractured after January 6th, and you had all these different people from the Queen of Canada, the self-proclaimed Queen of Canada, Romana Digilau, and a couple others pop up here and there. The Negative 48 guy down in Dallas. So, yeah, possibly I could see Elon Musk maybe becoming more of a prominent figure, but if he comes out and says, oh no, this QAnon stuff's crazy, that might put a stop to it. But it's kind of interesting to see everybody kind of scramble.
I think no matter if he is a member or a participating member or contributor to the Q conspiracy, I think it goes to show the power of owning information. So you have this, richest man in the world spending $40 billion to own Twitter, second richest to own the Washington Post. I kind of think it's kind of like a scary consolidation of money and power and information technology and data science and stuff is all going to be wrapped up into that. How is that going to be used? And it really goes to the point like owning your data. I think that we definitely need a Digital Rights Act, in order to give people ownership of the data that they have out there.
I'm totally down with that.
Yeah, I would agree. Only the influence of private interests on that, I don't know if they would be down for that, because that's your data is the information in which they use to algorithmically sell you ads.
Speaking of, my husband and I have been seeing a bunch of commercials for like people against them regulating what advertisers get when you click on their ads, like all the information. Like they're trying to do regulations for that, I guess. And we've been getting like a shit ton of commercials like, I'm a retired Vietnam veteran and this is why you should say no to this. And it's like,
what the fuck?
excuse me?
I think you're the wrong demographic. I'm
Well,
just
yeah,
taking
but
a
like,
guess.
I mean, I got an ad on Marcus's channel yesterday for some kind of prophylaxis medication. Like, this is Twitch, dude. Like, what?
Yeah, no, I think you were watching on Tuesday. Like, you came in and you got an ad for some sort of like cancer drug or some shit like that. Absolute wrong demographic to be advertising to.
Oh, dude, you should see the ad too, because it was absolutely marketed towards gamers.
Wait, a gamer ad for like An antibody drug? What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
I wish I could. You might have to pull my chat logs, but
The gaming ads are too much.
they are.
I saw frickin' there was nail polish colors to mimic Xbox controller colors
What?
on my Instagram. And I was like, oh my god, they're making ads for us now. We exist now. Thank you.
I'm not even going to talk about the kind of ads I get, but there is a Marxist theory that says, hey, we should just all lean into this because eventually they'll have so much data that it overwhelms the system. And that's actually a huge problem right now. With
Imagine believing that. It's like, what? Dude, that's a good thing.
No,
There's like, get another hard drive. I mean, this is, you know, I don't know. It's a weird accelerationism application. I feel like it's kind of weird.
Yeah, that's exactly the name of the theory, is this kind of accelerationism. But there is a little bit of truth to that, right? Like right now, there's a problem with big data companies. They have so much data, but they don't have anybody to make sense of it because they can't, like, most of them are programmers, and that's why there's this push to bring in social scientists.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean,
well, that makes sense.
but like, I mean, that's like AI and stuff like that is going to be able to like figure out like what is the good data to use. That's kind of the whole point of the idea of like the application in deep learning and that kind of stuff. So anything that you put in there, kind of like inject it or to try to like throw it off or something, do a bunch of like searches on, you know, whatever you would normally do. I mean, it might help in the short term, but the long term, I mean, you just buy another hard drive and put it into there and it's just more data for them.
No, I mean, again, sometimes on this stuff I try to be the optimist because I'm always looking for like footholds where, you know, chinks in the armor, where you can like, find some way to kind of attack this stuff.
So I think that I take an optimistic approach too. Like I think, you know, once our generation kind of gets in there and starts looking at, you know, starts writing laws and that kind of stuff. I mean, this is the stuff that we're going to care about, right? This is the things that we're going to shape legislation around. And, you know, think about it. Like, how many years ago was Nancy Pelosi told about the internet, the existence of the internet? You know, someone literally had to tell her, like, this is what's happening, you know, as opposed to just like living this or breathing, you know, the reality of actually having this technology. So that's incomprehensible to an 85-year-old, in my opinion.
How do you guys feel about age caps for like representatives?
Oh,
Yes,
I was gonna
big
say
yes.
driving licenses too.
I don't believe in them. I don't think, I mean, democratically, we should be able to take them down, you know, like we should show someone that's so out of touch and prove through an election how easily this person is out of touch and not actually enacting legislation that betters people.
Well, I think it goes a little farther than just like out of touch in terms of like they're a typical scumbag politician. Like, I think what we're saying is like when they get so old, they have dementia and they're pooping their pants and like they have to be helped around, like that kind of a situation.
Yeah, I mean, the Feinstein's having that problem, right? So
The problem is that onset is always a different age. Like there's early onset stuff for that too that you don't really hear that much about. But
I mean, that'd be all the more reason to keep your legislators young enough, right? You need a healthy balance compared to the gerontocracy that we have right now.
yeah, I mean,
my concern is like they don't understand like current technology, so legislating around them is like difficult to like write legislation or push it through. I don't know.
So that may be part of. I don't necessarily know that that's age, though, right? That could just be because they're so high up in the echelons of power that they like don't even fucking understand what it is to be a real human being anymore.
Maybe.
I mean, my dad's in his 60s and he's still very like he's always been very tech savvy and like he's the reason I've been on a computer my whole life and he knew that like the internet was going to be a huge deal and shit. So I mean,
Don't write off the old people.
generalizations are always tricky, but like I think it's important that the people making legislation understand what they're making legislation for. But
Should we
I don't
make them
think it's
take
an age
tests?
thing. No, more standardized tests. Hello,
Yes.
are you Steven Pinker?
I think. I mean, I
was a
think that there
callback.
should be. I think that there should be some type, like the immigration test. I would want every person that's taking the oath of office to also take that test and then to have the results published. I want to be able to know what if they know what they're getting wrong. You know, I don't know what action would be taken after that, but there should be. You know, you should be able to. A sitting office, holder should be able to answer the same level of questions that we're asking immigrants to take.
Yeah, because Tofu Ghost brings up a really good, I guess, reference to the Facebook hearings where they basically had to say, like, Senator, like, we sell ads, like, this is how it works. I kind of like the idea of, like, making elected representatives, like, actually be examined or questioned at the very least on basic shit, like, how does the internet work? Or, like, how do you log into Twitter? Like, I think we need fewer Chuck Grassley's where he's just logging on to Twitter and like, yeah, my satellite dish service cost me too much. Should I switch? Like, just more incoherent, delusional shit. I mean, that goes for the younger ones too. Like, Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeting insurrectionist style shit constantly. Madison Cawthorn doing the same thing. Like, it's not so
Yeah, but
much an
they're
age thing,
meaning
I guess.
To do that.
But
Yeah,
I mean, any technology, the whole point of those hearings is to have public people coming up there as a hearing, like educating these people on like what's going on. So that, I mean, that is kind of the point of them. They have crypto hearings the same way, what's Internet 3.0, like what are these things? So I think that's a good mechanism, in a democracy in order to have that. I mean, the other side of it is to have like a technocracy or something, right? Where you have people that are, running these companies or have run them or know how to do data science or computer science, writing legislation that's directly impacting the crypto world or the SEC or stuff like that, have kind of like a committee of people that are doing that. When you have committees that are made from representatives that have been elected through a democracy, I think, a hearing is probably one of the better ways in order to do that. Talking to these committees, making it open. That's good.
So I guess we're basically trying to clip chimp the Congress people, just asking them questions and listening to them say stupid shit.
Well, we do like acuity test for the president, right? I feel like we could do that for all representatives.
Yeah, cat,
Yeah.
dog, TV.
Well, I mean,
the
Man,
mini
woman,
mental
person,
status
camera,
exam.
TV.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
See, you can run for president, Gremloe.
Perfect. I took the presidential acuity test on stream.
Nice.
How'd you do? Are you fit to be president?
Don't worry about it.
He's not old enough.
Better than
Actually,
Trump,
might
I
be.
hope.
I don't know. It wasn't perfect. It was like the best. It made the draws drop. Like I didn't do that.
Oh, fuck me.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that brings up like an interesting conversation point. Like, are Congress people hopeless to do anything about Elon shit? Like,
yeah.
we have so many like large media enterprises owned by billionaires. Washington Post being one of them. Now we've got Twitter. I think there's that graphic floating around with a list, but like this kind of has like monopoly vibes. I don't know if that's really the right word, but it just seems like there's too much centralized control in the private sphere.
Yeah, and that you're right, and then the big problem with that is, like, let's say like Google, that's like that's an obvious monopoly. Like what kind of legislator is going to write legislation that absolutely crumbles their own portfolio and where they're going to lose millions of dollars if Google gets broken up, which they would, or in a digital rights kind of act where people have to have the ability to take back their data and have ownership of it, that would like crumble Google. So therefore, any legislator that owns Google stock or Google stock options, why would they do that? They're not going to do that. So it's an inherent conflict of interest, and it blows my mind that, I mean, the whole, just invest the way that Nancy Pelosi does. I mean, that's not a bad investment strategy because there's no way that Nancy lets anything through that impacts her.
Well, I mean, Nancy has her husband to benefit those kind of purchases.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, but there's just such an inherent risk There's such an inherent conflict of interest. I think it's grotesque. It blows my mind that it's allowed.
So, can I actually ask? I'm surprised neither Homozygoat or Gremloe covered this, or maybe if you guys did, I missed it. So, I've heard there's been some recent changes to Twitch. I haven't really looked into it all that much, other
They're
than
talking
the fact.
about changes.
Okay,
to
so
Twitch.
it's
They're
just
talking
talk right now.
about, well, yeah, they're talking about plans for the future of cutting partner cuts of subscriptions from 70-30, with 70% going to the streamer, to 50-50, which is what affiliates make. And they're also talking about adding incentives to run more ads.
Hassan's finally gonna have to
And-
revenue share. Sorry.
Yeah.
I did hear him talk about that on
There were a
stream, and
couple
he
other
did sound very
things.
sad.
There were a couple other things, but I can't remember what they were. But yeah, the biggest thing was the profit share, which I think is.
I mean, that's
these
just a hyper.
streamers are already not happy.
Right, like, do they really need to extract more wealth from people than they already do? I mean, fuck, they're owned by Amazon. Like, the second richest man in the world technically owns the platform. So, like, why was that policy even needed? Is this just, infinite growth capitalism coming into play? They just want to squeeze more money out of people? Like,
Yeah, for sure, dude. They see like all these streamers making this money outside of subs, right? Like Patreon donations and stuff like that. So they're just like, they're fine. And this only impacts like what, the 0.001% of streamers that are really going to make a big like impact on this. And it kind of just drives people away from donating and subbing through Twitch itself.
That's
and
only subbing.
well, I mean, so
Oh no, it's revenue. Never mind.
so I would argue, like I would think of alternative ways of getting a steady income if I'm a streamer trying to do this as my living. That's what I would think. Like you, Gremloe, what do you think, man? Are you gonna do a Patreon now?
Well, my thing with like diversifying my income is like I have nothing else to offer outside of my streams, right? I don't do anything that would be like deserving of being behind a paywall, so I don't see a reason of I don't see a justification for doing like a Patreon. But something like a fan house, which gives 90% of the revenue to the content creators. Maybe something like that, but that also goes into my I'm really bad about like posting on social media and keeping up with Discord.
But
So go ahead.
Like let's say if a fan house or something, my sub for $5 a month, for me it makes no difference. It's $5 a month for me. But if you're getting $4.50 versus $2, I'm like, well, that's where I want to support you. I don't care about Twitch. That's where my money's gonna go, right?
Yeah. Well, so Kid Knockin does this where he qualifies for partner, but he hasn't even gone affiliate yet. I don't think.
Nope.
Where all of his
he's-
stuff is go ahead.
He's not doing it because he doesn't want ads on his
Yeah,
channel.
he doesn't
so
want
he
ads
does
on
it
his
all through
stuff.
Patreon.
Yeah. Now, I think if there's a way for Twitch streamers to go adless but receive less revenue, because that is cutting into the profits of Twitch. I mean, maybe that's something we can negotiate in the future, but I mean, people have uBlock, people have VPNs, they have ways of avoiding ads regardless.
But the ads on Twitch are insane. Like
They are.
just the pre-rolls and the mid-rolls I was getting used to, but like now they started doing that thing where they're putting it under the stream and like changing the entire stream size to put the fucking ad there. It's like it's so distracting. Like you
And
can't.
like 3-4 minutes of ads. It's insane. Like I watched like a Ludwig or a Moist Critical stream, and holy shit, it's like I'm watching a whole other thing. I can walk away and make dinner by the time
Don't
the
you
ad's
guys-
done.
So
Yeah.
you guys don't control the ad sizes?
Oh
or
god, if
anything?
I could control what ads
No.
could go on my stream, that'd be great.
But do you get a cut of the ad rolls that you personally push?
But it's fucking tiny.
But then the automatic ad rolls, you're not getting a cut of that.
I have no ads on my channel, but there are still ads on my channel. Like you
Yeah.
cannot turn them off. As soon as
Wow.
you hit affiliate,
That's fucked.
they run.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
I mean, you do get like ad revenue, but you get more ad revenue by manually running it instead of just allowing like pre-rolls or mid-rolls. And there's no like CPM rate, like clicks per minute. So it's not like YouTube where you can measure like, oh, okay, how much is my ad revenue generating for clicks. No, it's just like, here's what you get. It's totally arbitrary. There's no way for you to really know like, okay, like, are these ads actually worth it? So
no, it's just how many viewers you have, and then like 2 cents or 1 cent or 0.00 of a cent or some shit like that per person that sees it.
Yeah.
Damn, dude.
It's bad.
Let's just do a fucking a Discord call. Then just share your screen and we'll chill and everyone get in here. Everyone get in here, guys.
Discord while the ads are running.
I mean, they're just gonna push more people to YouTube. YouTube already has better monetization than Twitch does.
Yeah, but the chat experience is awful,
Yeah.
and like
I
people who
know.
love Twitch won't go to YouTube for that.
Right. It's the one thing I think holding people back from patronizing YouTube as a chatter is the chat fucking sucks. Like, I know Ludwig has like a programmer or someone in his like circle that he employs that is trying to like add all of the Twitch emotes into YouTube chat, kind of like a Franker Face Z or BTTV style plugin for YouTube chat. But even then, it's still not the same.
Yeah, I mean, Twitch's user end experience is like what keeps people around for it. You know, I don't think. Also, it's very easy to raid other people, hosting, doing like multi-streaming for teams. Like that's all really fun. And when they do stuff like this, it takes away from the thing that makes Twitch Twitch.
Yeah, I think that the rating like feature is probably, I mean, for me, it's probably one of the like the most interesting ways that connects multiple streamers together that you're watching, and you're like, oh dude, you watch them too? Oh my gosh, you're a friend. And then you go in there, and then the person that you rated is like, oh, what's up, Gremloe? How you doing, man? Oh, loved your stream, or love your streams. And you're like, oh dude, that's awesome that they know Gremloe too. Like, you know what I mean? It's like a cool, it stitches that community together that I don't think that, you know, YouTube does it at all.
Yeah, cross-pollination on Twitch is really, really good. And yeah, if there was like a YouTube live, like click here to go to the YouTube live section, and it looked more like Twitch or a approximation of Twitch, then I think maybe they would do a better job bringing over streamers. But you know, until they have like a YouTube Prime type deal, I don't think they're gonna really push anything.
I loved the Amazon Prime. It was like my way of doing it for the longest time. You know, just like subbing to someone.
And that's like for a lot of people, the only way they do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and Will Neff actually just had a really good take about this yesterday or today.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that.
One of the things he said was, as far as Amazon Prime is concerned, put Twitch content on Amazon Prime. Like, he does the little game show thing with Austin Show, basically their version of Price is Right with Twitch streamers, but like that costs them nothing to do, to like take that, make it its own like standalone video and just upload it to fucking Amazon Prime as like a benefit. So that way you're cross-pollinating Prime with Twitch content,
Yeah, I wanted to
but
watch
would then
that.
drive people to go interact with Twitch.
So I did the math. I don't know if your ad revenue goes up if you get like more views on average or anything,
Typically.
but right now, since I'm a small channel, I'm getting $3.50 per 1,000 views. So that is 0.35 cents per view. Or
Let's see.
per view.
Mine is
Not even a single cent per view.
$15 this cycle.
So 15. So you get 1.5 cents per view.
Yeah. Awful. So like I stopped running ads. I used to do the top of the hour thing, actually run an ad and do my the ones that I make. Now, like, I just use my ads whenever I go to the bathroom. There's like no point in me running the ads. It's not enough money to really like incentivize me to do it until I have a contract.
By the way, can I just say your ads are fucking awesome.
Thank you.
True. They are very, very pog.
Thank you.
See, now I'm kind of what the fuck was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So I don't know if I'm like breaking something on Twitch or anything, and I'm not sure I should really even be saying this, but whatever ad block setup I've got, I have never seen an ad. No pre-rolls, no anything, even on channels where I'm not subscribed. Never seen an ad.
Oh,
See,
you're
I
on
don't
VPN.
use AdBlock because I get so much content from YouTube and Twitch, and I like want my creators that I
Yeah.
watch to get that revenue. And I know that's like a pleb thing to not have an ad blocker on the internet at 25 years old, but
Yeah, I mean, I try and like subscribe in that situation, right? Like if I want to support somebody, I'll just hand them the money myself rather than like soil the viewing experience with ads for gamer pills or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. Because even on YouTube, like your ad rolls aren't as super profitable. It's your views and your likes. The CPMs on YouTube are a lot better, but I don't know. I just don't think that the actual ad revenue is going to be super good on YouTube as opposed to Twitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think with YouTube, it's less about ads and more just about discoverability because Twitch has remarkably awful discoverability. Like it's all about,
so bad.
you know, you have to get juiced up by a fucking raid to like show up on the front page or something. Like there, something has to be going on.
That's why I was so
special
excited about
for
the
that.
boost trains, because it was like, oh my god, we can finally get some visibility, us at the bottom of the totem pole. And then I got 2, and it was like the best thing ever. And then they had to take it away because people are stupid. But
Wait, they took
Yeah.
it away? Is that why I haven't been getting any?
people
Yeah,
put
go ahead.
porn and boost trained it and got it to the front page.
What?
Yeah, they literally
So
just straight
now-
up put on porn.
You're
Now
kidding
all the
me.
small
Oh my
streamers don't get a chance to be like visible at all. We're still at the bottom of the list.
Good
It's like,
job,
okay,
Reddit.
just ban those people. Like, what the fuck? Like, let them have their haha, and then you ban them, and they can't do it again.
But the problem is people are going to keep doing it because it's funny. But
So, what do you guys see as like
Yeah.
a future for this? Like, what would your ideal situation look like?
Improved discoverability.
not organizing it by
control.
views.
Yeah, not organizing things
That's
by
so-
views,
it's
but
so
by,
weird.
Like, maybe chat engagement.
It's
I don't
top
know.
down. Like,
So, I didn't really mean necessarily like that, but what do you see as the way forward in terms of getting those changes?
I might have to talk to Carter about that and like gauge his view of it because he actually has like more inside information.
the first thing that comes to mind is like either organizing channels by growth. So like the faster growing channels like get put at the top, or just randomize it and just fucking throw people in the list, and where you end up, and it can change when people go offline. I don't know, but like anything is better than putting these giga chads of Twitch at the very top so that people just keep funneling into their streams, and the small fries at the bottom just can like have to rely on really cool people that comb through the tiny ones like Read and Rap and shit.
I mean, it blows my mind that I mean, think about it. Twitch has Amazon Web Services, and they can't host videos longer than a week. Like that doesn't make any sense to me. They should be able to host those videos in streams for like forever.
It's like 30 days.
That's a week, I think. I mean, or I guess maybe there's a drop down somewhere. I don't know.
I think if you're an affiliate, it's like 30 days.
Oh, really?
Right. If you're an affiliate, you get a month basically to host your VODs, and
Yeah.
then if you hit partner, it's permanent.
Can you search for those things? Is there any type of like?
To search through
VODs?
someo's VOD?
Yeah. Can you
could go to
find
their
them?
channel.
Can you find them like through the?
Yeah. Like if I wanted to go to see one of Hassan's VODs, I would go to his channel, click videos, and then click see all if it was not something that was like recent.
I mean,
And then
like
just comb
like
through all of it.
I mean, like searching like Elon or something, and then all the streams with Elon in their title or something like that.
No. It's
No,
just
that
a
doesn't
list.
exist.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that
I mean, you can
would help with
search by
discoverability.
tags, that's one way, but that's not super effective. Some people use tags to search. Like sometimes I'll look up like
It's so not common though.
yeah, like some people will look up things like Satanist, right? Someone might look
Or
that
English.
up. English.
Yeah, languages are a big deal.
Yeah, news, analysis. Someone might look up something like that. I don't know what the actual like usage of it is though.
It's pretty small from what
So I
I've
think
seen
what-
on my channel at least.
I think my point was, we're seeing a lot of unionization going on.
Oh,
Starbucks.
you were paving the way for us to
Well, I mean, I'm wondering what is stopping you guys? Because I mean, you all are workers in this environment.
Bargaining power.
Yeah, one, I think even the bigger streamers too, like there would have to be a lot of inertia to get them to actually hop on. Like Hassan would unironically probably have to lead that charge as like, the political
Yeah.
leftist person on the platform. He would have to do some actual organizing for other big streamers, and he'd have to talk to the Pokemans and the Ludwigs and whatnot.
Yeah.
It would
Of
be easy
Twitch
for
to
the
make that happen.
leftist streamers, but like anyone else, like you becoming part of a union immediately politicizes your stream, and like a lot of streamers don't want politics.
Yep. Also, revenue on Twitch is super, super insecure. And
Yep.
if you take off for a week, you might lose 10% of your sub count. If you go on strike for a month, that you might lose your entire channel, your entire growth that you've had over the last like couple of years that you've been on the platform. So it would be nice if we had, just in the short term, if we could have a pause subscription feature where people could say like, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to take time off for mental health and I don't want to lose my revenue. It would be nice if we could have something like that, just as like a gimme.
I mean, that's not a bad thought.
Yeah.
People can
But yeah.
still continue their subs even if
Yeah.
you're not live, but the thing is you're like if you're not live to remind them you exist, like
Why are they going to sub?
exactly.
Yeah, like if I look at my analytics right now, without saying the exact dollar amount, my paid subs, meaning someone who decided that they liked my content and want to subscribe to it, versus people who were gifted a sub, is
Yeah.
about a third.
Gifted
Wow.
subs carry Twitch.
Yep, gifted subs.
Any
Gifted subs and
gifters?
bits. Any gifters?
But
And bits,
like,
yeah.
well, yeah, and I think the split with bits is a lot better even with subs. Like, I'm almost kind of surprised people don't just hoard themselves out for bits. But at the same time, too, like subs are such an interesting metric by which to judge someone's like content and presence, because people view greater sub count as in like, oh, this is legit. Like, I should probably pay attention to what's going on. It's kind of that positive feedback loop of getting more and more people on board.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely a component that it's very difficult to account for if you're trying to unionize streamers, because you're essentially, dancing in the town square, so to speak, for money being thrown at you.
Yeah. And what does a streamer union look like anyway? Like how do we collectively bargain when we all are kind of on our own islands? There are like networks and there are teams of streamers. There are people who exist within a certain category.
But you have to be so big to get on those teams in the first place because they're not going to make any money off small streamers.
Yep.
So
I mean, there's
So it's
also
like-
websites like means.tv, which is a leftist co-op where the creators are all co-owners of the platform, which I think is a really cool, interesting way to organize the platform. The problem is like you can't just let everyone make an account on there, right? You gotta like who are we splitting it? In a traditional co-op model, you're voting on whether or not to bring someone on to split, another piece of the revenue share. So it's like, how do you let people on? Do you let people? Because it's kind of just an interesting way of organizing this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see something like that, but I just don't know how it would work functionally. Because
Right.
streamers, they're all kind of self-interested, not in like a cruel way, but, you know, this is their branding, this is their platform that they're
We're like
using.
our own individual companies, and to get individual companies to unionize together is like a lot.
Yeah.
Especially people who don't have politics as part of their brand, and like it coming out that they're part of a union would probably shake their income quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like
Depends.
there's a way that people can say like, yeah, you know, I'm part of the Twitch streamer union, and that be, you know, because I want to stay on this platform, because I, you know, I like my community. I think there's a way that they can talk about it and get
I
their
mean,
audience on board
right
with it.
wingers are like going after teachers and shit for being in
Yep.
teachers unions. So that's what I mean is like people like with these huge viewer bases, not Hassan, but like Pokimane or people that aren't political inherently and
Yep.
or on their stream, and then saying they're part of the Twitch union. It's like you're gonna lose people. I don't know if it would be enough to matter, but I'm sure that would be a fear for them. Is like, you know, saying you're a part of a union and people leaving.
I mean, you could
Yeah, I
have
guess.
you could have streamers that are collectively joined together, you know, maybe form an LLC and have like a Patreon account that would be shared amongst everyone, and then you'd basically like split the revenue amongst you know, those streamers. So you wouldn't have to necessarily form like a union of all the streamers. You would just have like a group of people that you would allow in and vote in members of, and they would stream on Twitch, and that goes into a pile, and then that pile's split.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Greg, basically what you're hinting at is what Gremloe said in how do we actually collectively bargain for streamers of different followings and sizes? You know, how do
And
we
content.
and content? Yeah, like how do we subdivide, you know, all the parts of the co-op in a fair and equitable way without, you know, bringing down the big content creators or, you know, pumping up somebody who's small but is actually, you know, a giant piece of shit that is about to get banned or something. Like there's a lot of small finer details that I think kind of add up to a very difficult collective bargaining experience when actually at a table, because, you know, you're going to have so many different subcategories of streamers represented by a hypothetical union. But then on top of that, because of the fucking Janish case, thank you, Neil Gorsuch, you piece of shit, you're going to have streamers that don't have to join the union, and you're going to have represented versus non-represented streamers. Guess which group is going to be treated better by Twitch? The non-represented streamers, because that's how it always goes with the boss. They will always find ways to at least hug and kiss and make the non-represented people feel more respected and more
I didn't
valued.
even think of that.
And streamers do be dumb, so they'll fall for that.
Oh yeah, I mean, can you imagine fucking Aiden Ross getting preferable treatment? You know, maybe he gets unbanned because he doesn't want to join the union, or, you know, says some anti-union shit on his Twitter full of L nerd juicer zoomer followers, you know, like shit like that.
Yeah.
But Kpar has asked a really good question too about this. What if you had streamers kind of reach out to like an actual right proper union, like the IWW as an example? And it's an interesting idea. The problem is it goes back to something Gremloe said, like how do you actually organize something like a strike? Because of course, you know, Amazon and Twitch,
where's
they're
the
not going to
strike
comply.
fund?
Yeah,
Like,
the
where do
union
we
would
have that?
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a third party union would have a decent enough war chest, depending. Like when we've been talking about trying to unionize the grads here, like we've had to talk about that particular question. You know, how big is the strike fund with 3 or 4 different parent unions, and we've had to take recommendations from other grad student unions, basically in terms of who's got the biggest war chest. Like they're directing us towards United Automotive Workers because they have the biggest fucking war chest. And as it would pertain to Twitch and Amazon, I don't know if a union would actually want to dedicate its resources to something that is very kind of out there in left field, like internet streaming as a like employment. Like I'm not sure they've even conceptualized that, let alone like actively have the desire to back it with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars.
I think the only way you would be able to model it is something kind of based off of SAG, maybe. Because SAG kind of works in the same way, right? Most actors are independent contractors that need their contracts negotiated. They're represented by SAG for litigation when necessary. So maybe that's a model we can operate off of.
Oh, that's actually an interesting thought. I didn't even think about that.
Because what we do is entertainment. So
Yeah.
my God, we've broken the code.
Oh my God. Somebody tell Q we need to have a Q drop about this.
I mean, again, part of me is looking at this from a kind of, sociological thing, and I kind of started out looking at sociology of work, and, it's just something that's been on my mind since I started, exploring this Twitch thing.
I mean, you get kind of weird problems with an actual union too. So I support unions. I'm going to put that out there. They're a great way to organize collectively against, the capitalist structure, the oligarchical structure. The problem is that they themselves are oligarchical in the structure that they have, and you get weird problems. Like we're in the UAW and our grad student union, and we got weird ways of them instituting. So big thing, you have to sign up, right, to be a union. In the union, you have to fill out a card, a physical card to say that, oh, I'm in the union. And I was like, why? Why can't we just sign people up electronically? Isn't that just kind of weird? And so then I looked, and then they said, I messaged our union people, and they were like, oh no, it's a UAW stipulation that we can't do it because there's the head of our union, and then there's the UAW that's a bigger triangle, right? I look at the UAW, the actual constitution of the UAW, and they had instituted electronic mailing, electronic fill-ins years ago, decades ago. But it for some reason it wasn't iterated into people, or they still do physical sign-ups and stuff like that in our little union of the larger UAW. It's really frustrating sometimes actually trying to get things going and passed and changing things within that union structure, because you get pyramids of power, and it's very odd.
Yeah, so I
but
think
the alternative is a private company. So it's an imperfect solution to a very
well, and Twitch could just ban people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They could just ban you and say it's for fucking copyright or something.
Yeah. A lot of stuff slides under the rug. So
they
people
don't
who
tell
are,
you why they ban you when they do. 9 times out of 10. That's been the whole thing with streamers I won't name that have been banned and still haven't gotten a reason years later. They still don't know why.
Yeah.
So they could easily just ban whoever talks about unionizing. So easy.
they'd be done, and not just on Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh, did nobody get the slasher joke? Oh, okay.
No.
No, sorry.
No, there's a LSF Andy Twitch journalist. Basically, he went by slasher, and when a certain disrespectful physician got banned from the platform, he went on to LSF and tweeted, I know why he got banned. He's totally done, and not just on this platform. And then nobody ever figured out why that guy got banned, and he looked like an ass clown, and now he doesn't cover.
He posted
Twitch shit
recently
anymore.
that they've resolved their legal disagreements and that no party claims fault.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, again, without knowing the actual reason, it's kind of cool. It doesn't actually really I don't know, provide any content or discourse. But all that to say, let me go back to what you were saying, Greg, about UAW. It's interesting you bring that up, because the grad students at Harvard actually told us that that was a liability. Just the way UAW International was structured, it hurt them when they went to actually go vote, because there were a lot of top-down corruption issues with the international component of it that didn't prevent them from making a local chapter, but it certainly was poor optics at the very least. But at the same time, you're describing, I guess to really describe it with biological phrasing, there's heterogeneity between the unions, and every parent union's kind of going to do their own thing differently. I know the grad students at University of Indiana who are on strike right now. We talked to their parent union, which was United Electric. They had an entirely digital drive. They didn't have to sign any physical cards. It was just nothing but going on to the union-made website, signing up, and then you were done. Like, they organized at the drop of a hat. It was like, I don't know, 3 to 6 months tops. Like, it was quick.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. I mean, especially when you look at the, because I was like, okay, what happens to these? No, I'm doing all these work to collect these signatures. What's actually happening to these paper things? It's like, okay, so actually, well, we scan them in, and then we scan them and make a PDF, and then that PDF is emailed to someone, and then that PDF is then transcribed, and then sometimes they're rejected because we don't know their name or something like that. And
It's
then
like a fucking hanging Chad, dude.
it's
oh my God.
crazy, dude. It was like 5 or 6 steps like to actually get someone like registered, and I'm like, damn, dude, why are we like, we're shooting ourselves in the foot? I think the stronger point though is that as a union, they're saying, hey, dude, like, look we have the actual verification, we have the receipt, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Do we have a small Greg wanting to join the panel too?
Yeah,
Small
my
Greg,
baby
what's
girl.
your stance on unionization through Twitch?
More snacks.
Daddy, get me a juice box.
All in favor? Disdain.
Yeah, that's where he's going, getting him a juice box.
That's all kids want, snacks and juice boxes.
I mean,
everyone
I'm with
knows.
him.
Hey, add Fortnite to that. Gremloe's been really hitting the Fortnite.
Small
Oh,
child.
Oh wow,
Say
your
dada.
kid's really small.
Daddy. Hi, say hi. Hi.
hi there.
Daddy.
Can he hear us?
Daddy. Say daddy.
Mama.
Oh, really? Say daddy.
Da.
Dada? That's a light. That's a light in the
He
camera.
looks just like you.
Okay, don't do that.
Say like and subscribe.
Bye.
now.
Say bye.
Say
Bye.
any gifters.
Follow and sub. And gifters.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Okay, am I the only person who has like face blindness for children? Where people are like, "Oh my god, it looks just like you." I'm like, "It looks like every baby."
Spoken like a true
No.
sociologist.
There we go.
I think babies definitely look different. I just don't have that like in parental instinct yet.
Yes.
I think once I have kids, I will be like, "Oh, how cute!" But like right now, just
Yeah, dude, you don't have like that connection with other people's kids like your own, you know, for sure. You know, even my friends group where they have kids and stuff.
is
I'm
everyone
like,
just faking that they think babies are cute then?
Yes.
Yes.
I would say no, for real. Like the infants and stuff can be pretty ugly. I'll be real. You know,
I
other people's
know.
kids can be like,
I know. I wasn't
especially
brave
like
enough to say
newborns,
it.
like 0 to 6 months. They can be like, ooh, a little weird.
Dude,
They come out
there's
looking
someone I
really
know-
old, like 80 years old,
There's
and then
someone I know
it's really
that
weird.
has a very large forehead, and their child, literally, like the exact same size forehead. It was every single child they've had like 4 kids. They all have like.
I hope
It's
those were
also-
C-sections.
That's also a sign that they're a deviant, according to Lombroso. By the way.
Yeah, they're shooting out criminals. We got to do something. Thanks, Lombroso.
Since we're talking about children, you want to bring up that K through 12 article I found? Some local Missouri news.
Oh yeah. Did you put that in ministry only?
I did.
I
Here,
see it.
I'll post it
Yeah,
in
I
chat.
see it. Yeah, repost it just so people can take a look at it. Now let me actually throw it in the chat. You beat me to it. Thank you.
Aha, I'm on it. Yeah, so of course this caught my eye because I'm out here in Missouri, and we have, I believe, a kind of "Don't Say Gay" bill in effect, and so one of the schools just outside of Kansas City, which is not necessarily a what do I want to say?
A bastion for LGBT rights.
Well, Kansas City's interesting. So they actually have a pretty vibrant gay scene, a kind of tight knit gay community. So I'm kind of surprised that this happened there in one of the suburbs versus some of the more rural parts. But yeah, the teachers were basically forced to take off any kind of stickers or LGBT support, anything that said basically they're allies. Um,
Isn't this just
and
called fascism? Like, what the fuck?
Yes.
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
it's the liberals silencing people, obviously.
I think I saw something like akin to that in a Jordan Klepper video where a guy was like, "Yeah, these teachers they're putting the pride flags in their classrooms because kids like colors. It's devious."
No, they do it so kids feel accepted and like okay to talk
Well,
to
sure.
that teacher. But well, sure. I mean, if that's your take,
The rainbow seducing our children, brother. Like, what?
I mean, they have been calling it grooming for like years, so fucking stupid.
So yeah,
Go ahead.
What
I don't know. Here we go.
what age?
we've got
What
our
age?
first-
What was the
Oh, this is high school.
high school? Yeah, I mean, so that I mean that's like an age where, you know, that's so weird. I mean, we have like I mean even in preschool we have books, you know, that are talking about loving all different types of families and you know, everyone's family looks different and that's okay and that's good and you know that makes sense. But I think it's kind of like a weird kind of like sexualization of this stuff and this topic that doesn't necessarily have to be like, you know, sexualized.
When you talk about LGBT, all like conservatives think about is how they have sex.
Yep.
Like for some reason, it's just butt sex in their head, and that's like they can't get around it. So they see a rainbow flag and they're like anal.
Yep. Well,
Anal.
I go a little farther in my analysis of it. I think it's projection.
Ita da poo poo. Oh,
Yeah, he do like ice cream. I think it's a
What
lot of
are you
projection. Yeah. You are gay. What was I say? Yeah, I think it's a lot of projection because in that
yeah.
that
I agree.
Groyper debate that we were in, where we were talking about like prison labor, the only crimes that these like super conservatives can like come up with in their mind is child sex crimes. Also, Republicans kind of have a history of diddling kids.
Well, and QAnon is like this huge like
Exactly,
most of
that's what I was gonna say,
conspiracies are
too.
around like
Exactly.
child sex trafficking. It's such an odd like
It's a fixation.
obsession. Yeah.
I mean, it's a tale as old as time. If you go back and you look at the satanic panics of the '90s, and
Mm-hmm.
you go
Coming
back
for your kids, yep.
further, it's all this like concern about
It's all
the
sexual
children.
stuff.
Yeah, Nancy
It's
Reagan.
very weird. Maybe because they're so like, what's the word I'm looking for?
Repressed.
Thank you, repressed. I was gonna say subdued, but that's not. Yeah, they're so repressed that they just.
I don't know.
See
Maybe they
it.
tried to do butt stuff and it fucking. You know,
Oh no, they won't let anyone near their butt. That's a sacred place. If they go near the butt, it's gay, even if it's a woman. Come on,
What the
Marcus.
fuck? One person I let near
Conservatism 101.
my doctor.
Nothing goes near the ass.
It's obvious, guys. You remember the Larry Craig,
Don't take that
Senator
out of
Larry Craig,
context.
getting
Oh, yeah,
busted
the
in the
airport.
airport with the
Yep.
rentboy.com. It's obvious he was just an old frail man, needed help with his heavy luggage, you know? I mean,
I'm surprised they didn't make him pay extra to check that luggage. They needed somebody to physically help him
Am I
get it
in
onto the
loop on
plane.
this? What are we referencing?
So there
Oh,
was a-
dude, you go ahead, Professor
There
Q.
was a
You can-
site called Rentboy, and then there was a later site called Rentmen, and it was basically exactly what you'd expect. It's a place
rent
for-
man. I'm a rent man.
No.
I think Rent Man came up after Rent
No.
Boy got shut down, and they were like in this weird limbo.
You rent a man.
But yeah, it's exactly what you expect. You know, you
It's just
find
like sex
a
work, or-
masseur online.
male
They're,
escort.
they're
if you will.
escorts. They're
Oh,
it's
okay.
a companion. I mean maybe I don't know.
Wait,
Allegedly.
but what was the thing about the old dude needing help with his luggage? Did he rent a man to carry his...
Yeah, he got found in an
Yeah.
airport.
Yeah.
Yes, this was a Republican Party senator from the state of Minnesota, like not a state senator, but like
Oh, so
a
it's a
federal
little-
U.S. senator from Minnesota who was a Republican in 2007. He basically wanted to solicit one of these escorts, but he tried to do it to an undercover cop. So,
Oh.
Awesome.
Wait, he got arrested in an airport toilet?
oh yeah. It was in a bath.
Oh.
Look, there's a Wikipedia picture of it,
Amazing.
right
I
next to
remember
a shoe shiner
thought-
and some sort of store.
That's
I
awesome.
thought you were legitimately talking about an old and confused man who was like, "Yeah, I need a man to carry my shit for me because
Oh,
I'm
no.
old." No, okay, that
I
makes
went
much
on
more sense.
rentaman.com so someone could carry my
I mean,
luggage.
dude, an old person going on rentaman.com to get someone to carry their moving their shit. I don't know. It makes sense.
That scans for me.
Yeah, I mean that wasn't his defense, unfortunately. For him, he was trying to defend this by saying the undercover cop was lying in that he wasn't trying to solicit sexual favors, but he merely had a wide stance because he is a wide guy and he needed to pick up paper from the floor.
Yeah, I've tried that excuse before. It doesn't work.
I'm a wide
weird.
guy. I have to take a wide
Dude,
stance.
I mean, really, they're,
Yeah,
they're going
so-
from the old drop my soap to dropping documents. Is that what is that the whole?
yeah, the luggage is so wide, the documents just fell all over the bathroom floor.
Oh my
That's the
lord!
trick that the drag queens used to do when they saw a cute boy they liked. They would like drop their keys and go, "Oh, can you pick that up for me?"
Well, they do that with the dollars all the time. I'm sitting there picking up the dollars constantly. They keep dropping it, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah,
trying to tip
Greg,
them. I'm like,
you might
here's
wanna be
here's my money,
careful
and then
about
they
that.
drop it all the time. Jeez,
I feel
I'm
like
sure
we're
they really
discovering
like you.
things.
I love
okay,
drag shows.
Speaking of discovering an LGBT culture, I discovered on TikTok today that there's like a handkerchief rule, like left or
Oh,
right
yeah.
pocket, and the
Oh,
colors
yeah,
are
the
your
hanky
I
code.
had no idea about this shit.
The hanky code?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
you
learned
can-
about all of that.
Yeah, you can literally I mean,
Whoa,
this
whoa,
is
whoa,
something
whoa,
that
whoa,
like
Marcus, do we really
this-
want to let him in on this?
Oh,
This is-
shit,
sorry.
you're
Am I
right.
letting out a secret? I'm sorry.
do we
It's
have
my-
to
it's
consult
my
the hive
straight
mind
cis
first?
Privilege, just like I want to talk about it.
Consult the hive mind. It's like
Yeah,
eyes rolled in the back of your head and you start chanting. Yogg-Sothoth is the gate. Yogg-Sothoth is the key.
Yeah, that's why there's a Satanist tag on my stream. Okay.
Ah,
No, there is a handkerchief, like a hanky code, where like if it's in your left or right pocket is if you're top or bottom, and then like the different
The
colors
color
are like different
is-
kinks, like gray
right.
is bondage and shit.
oh shit. Okay.
Red is fisting.
Yellow is
Yeah, water
yellow
sports.
is
Yeah.
play.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't this interesting? I thought that was so cool. It comes from square dancing because if you put like the TikTok told me the whole fucking history. So like square dancing, you put your handkerchief in your right or left if you were the male or female role, because there was like too many men. So like the men would wear the
Yeah, there
handkerchief
was.
in one or the other to signify if they were the male or the female role, and then it just like then LGBT people started using it for top or bottom. And then the colors started coming in. It's a whole fucking culture. It's so cool.
So
Well,
there's
for once, a
s-
marginalized person co-opted something from the streets.
Wow.
and
After
there's a scene from Cruising when, gosh, is it De Niro? No, yeah. De Niro's character fucks up the code. Like he has a hanky in his back pocket, and somebody hits on him and is like, gets pissed
Oh.
off because he's like they thought he was into something he clearly wasn't.
Yeah, the TikTok guy was like, I was at a gay bar and someone had a gray hanky in their pocket. And I was like, oh, into bondage? And they were like, what the fuck are you talking about?
So
Man.
that's actually a problem that has happened. That this is like such a bygone thing. There's
Yeah.
people. Gosh, now I'm like self-reporting. Fuck.
I was going to ask, is this a
Do this.
personal story? It seems a little close to home.
So
We're here
it's-
for it.
It's not
Yeah.
necessarily a self-report, but there's been enough time passed that like some of the younger gays don't even know what the fuck a hanky code is.
there you go. After
that-
all
is
these
that a
years,
good
man,
thing?
I
Is that a
had
sign
no
of
idea
progress?
that the Crips and Bloods in L.A. were just Greek passives and FFA receivers. I had no idea. Someone's gotta let them know. Someone's gotta let them know.
I didn't say
Somebody's
it.
on
Greg,
the
I don't think
Wikipedia
you should be
page.
the one to do that. Just putting that out there.
Oh, this
Perusing
is bad.
the Wikipedia page. Are we?
Oh, fuck.
That's awesome.
You're gonna
Well,
get
that's-
some angry like DMs from people.
Yeah, don't go saying that in real life. You'll turn yourself into Swiss cheese real quick.
Yeah.
Just walking around Compton and you're like, oh, I see you're a FFA. That's not very nice.
So really, the only place the hanky code is
Take
used
us
these
back.
days
Q.
are like the Eagles, which are basically the leather bars within the gay scene, and so you'll see it there. The other thing that I don't know, it's kind of interesting to me is like hipsters will often have hankies in their like back pocket, and it gives me a little giggle because I'm like, well, are they or aren't they, right? So
Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, what,
how
what
the
Gremloe
hell
said.
did we get on this fucking
I
topic?
learned
Jesus
something
Christ.
today.
Hey, no, I mean it's good
Like
conversation.
I
I'm
said,
here for
the
it.
Adderall's wearing off.
No, but
Who knows?
Gremloe had an interesting thought, like Professor Q. If younger gay men, or to really gay people, like if any queer people are unfamiliar with the hanky code, like as a historical fact, is that a sign that we're making progress, or is that like you have to be up to date on your hanky code just in case we are not allowed to be in public again because fascism?
Yeah. Do we need like cards at bars?
So
There are
actually,
cards.
there are cards at bars.
The
and
guy
if-
held one up. It was laminated and
Yeah.
everything.
Oh, okay. See, that was what I was saying. Like, do we need to laminate it?
and if you go to like certain like LGBT stores, like
Hand him out as coasters.
sex
under
shops,
your drink.
basically, you can pick those up. But I don't know. Here's my thoughts on it because I've given a lot of thought to this. What I see happening is this kind of bifurcation within, like, especially gay spaces where you have a bunch of affluent, mostly white gay men who want nothing to do with any of the traditions of a previous bygone era. And then you have a bunch of people who are they kind of lack what sociologists call sexual capital and are all about in some ways leaning in to those old kind of traditions, and so and I think like within queer like spaces that use the term queer kind of lean into this kind of older tradition. So we're in a kind of weird space. Like I will often say that gay marriage really hurt the solidarity within the LGBT community. I mean it because it's kind of accelerated this kind of heteronormative way that a lot of privileged people within the LGBT space operate. If that makes sense.
Could you elaborate on that last part?
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, so I guess what I mean by that is you'll have couples who like they go to college, they get married, they adopt a kid, they put on the Will and Grace kind of
They do nuclear family.
yeah, and you have another set of people who that's kind of outside of the realm of possibility, or it's kind of not really attainable. So, and ironically, there's been a great write-up, and I wish I had the article at my fingertips about how like there's somewhat of a resurgence of some gay spaces because a lot of gay men, it's become unaffordable to live within kind of iconic gay areas, and so they have a roommate, right? So suddenly, like taking your date back. Marcus is pointing at himself, but you can't really take your date back. So places like gay bathhouses have been reporting like increased patronage, and there's this kind of whole sub discussion that isn't really getting a lot of play, but it's definitely kind of under the surface.
Okay.
Nobody really wants to talk about it because like there's a kind of weird shame, and I can't remember who the author who really talked about this, but like Harvey, like we haven't had a really iconic gay figure in a while, and like Harvey Milk was one of the last people to kind of be that person. And but even he had what I want to say, a kind of sordid past.
Sure.
And anytime I see someone who's a figure within the LGBT community rise, if they don't have a perfect past, they kind of get taken down real quick.
So what is like sordid versus perfect? Are we talking like criminal convictions or just like unsavory activities with bad optics? Like what does that mean?
They drink too much, and I'm not saying like I'm saying like people within the community say, oh well, she's just a lush, right? So or drug use, um,
Infidelity.
or yeah, infidelity. They sleep around. They have like I can't tell you how many upper class gay men I've heard. Um, they find out some kind of salacious detail about so and so likes to get into threesomes, right? Or whatever. And suddenly it's like, the front page news of the local gay newspaper because, they feel the need to blab. Um, I've seen that quite a bit actually.
So,
In fact,
do you
actually, there
think-
used to be a newspaper in Indianapolis. This is going really into my past. That published a section. It was the back page of the gay newspaper, and it was called the Gossip Cats.
I
And
was about to say catty. Yeah.
yeah, and that owner used that to disseminate a lot of stuff and cause a lot of drama within the community, and it hurt a lot of people, myself included, in some really ways that people still bitch about, and that paper shut down back in like 2015. So
So do you think it would be better if people clung to those traditions from when LGBT people were more marginalized, or are you wanting them to make their own like culture now? Like, I guess I'm confused as to what you see as the problem.
well, so
In plain
here's here's kind of my hot take. I think what needs to happen is people need to realize, hey, there's a long way to go in the fight for equality. So let's not
Yeah.
kill ourselves. Let's not just
So you just think they're pretending like everything's fine
yeah,
now?
they're
Yeah,
they're
okay.
accepted, right? What
Okay.
is it? Herschel Walker's son, Christian Walker, is like
Oh,
the
God.
best example of
Oh
it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So, and I think there's still a lot of hang-ups within the LGBT community around sex, which is why the back page of that newspaper I was talking about was such a, um, I mean, people like the story that I heard from the owner was he at one point in time he took that section out of the newspaper, and the bars actually called him and said, put it back in, put it back right where it was, because people were going into the bars, ripping through the paper, and there was like a huge mess. And so there was like this weird demand for it. So that's kind of a little bit off topic, um, but yeah, I would love to see, something happen anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes you wonder too. Like, what's the modern equivalent? Like, is this just people shit talking on social media, on TikTok, on Twitter? Like, kind of bringing this back to almost the Elon thing. Like, are there these, I guess, equivalents of that newspaper that persist in social media these days? Like, that's just a thought that comes to mind.
I doubt it's as personal if it is. Because if you like shit talk someone, at least someone that's not famous, it's not going to blow up, and then you don't get the dopamine attention feedback that you go on social media for anyway, right?
Well, I mean, look at the manifestos and stuff that are written now. Instead of like an ad, it's like a 30-page Google Doc that gets like released on you or whatever. So I feel like it's I don't know. I think that's kind of like the culture now, is like the nuke as opposed to like the article.
I mean, there's still gay newspapers that exist, and there's still definitely gossip circles that persist. And I'll give you another story that this is a recent one, not from 20 years ago or 30 years ago, however long it was. But there was a local, or rather not local, but in the state I lived, I'll put it that way. The president of Pride was kind of blackmailed because they have some details in their past that they didn't want to come out regarding some trouble with the law. To make a long story short, one person was 17, one person was 18, so it was like a junior, senior high school thing. And that person basically quietly resigned so that someone else could become the president of Pride, which is like so fucking insane.
The CEO of gay, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it was, and all I can tell is the person who was doing this just wanted to be the person in charge of the big gay party that happens each summer.
Gee, like
Didn't
that's
get
it.
invited?
That
Pulled a Maleficent.
Scorn
Didn't get
lover.
invited, so they just trashed the party.
Jesus Christ.
I got more stories, but those are just two of the really good ones.
We could
Anyway,
we could
what other
absolutely
current events?
have a Professor Q storytime hour at some point because that actually
Christ.
that would be interesting. Like I'm
down
a
for it.
sucker for stories.
Yeah, you better
Yeah.
get them while you can, because older I get, the more I realize, oh fuck, I'm forgetting this shit.
I'm gonna need a fidget toy if I'm being honest, because I'm. Anyway,
Yeah, once Gremloe gets back, I'll lead us into our next topic. And Amber, I think you saw me tweet about this one, as you said in the ministry Discord, because Jesus Christ, what the fuck?
I've been on Twitter more. Are you proud of me?
I'm very proud of you.
I'm becoming a modern woman.
Ah, yes, Twitter,
more
the standard by
Facebook for
which
me.
all women are judged.
Listen. I've been a Facebook bitch for like 10 years. Okay.
Oh, fair point. Yeah,
One of my
that would be
viewers
something
just
to stray from.
Posted a Rubber Chicken cover of Billie Eilish's Bad Guy in my Discord. Oh my god. The temptation. Anyway.
Well, check out my MySpace for my sick new song that I just posted. You fucking
Okay, listen.
check it out, dude.
I've put so much time into my Facebook. Dropping it is like 10, 12 years of my life that I'm not going to get back. All those pages and groups and shit. And then you go on Twitter. I go on my Twitter because I've never been on it. And I'm following like 5 people. My feed's a wasteland.
I need to send you some people to follow.
Please, for fuck's sake. I tweeted about it. Someone tagged you and you didn't do anything. And I'm pissed
I
about
didn't
it.
want to like tag a bunch of people.
Well,
okay?
yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Okay, I'll send you some people. You need to follow first of all transgender marks because they are
I
a really
love
good
transgender
poster.
marks.
Can you like Discord message me because I'm not gonna fucking remember
Yeah.
any of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Did you follow
username
Ken
sounds
Klippenstein?
amazing.
Oh yeah, Kenny Clips. Yeah, Ken
Yeah.
Klippenstein is a good one too.
Never
Required.
heard of any of these people.
He's a journalist.
I feel like such
Suddenly
a
I-
boomer.
Oh god, who else? Alex
Dear
Perrine,
God.
I know, is another good one.
Live.
Oh
For
yeah,
sure.
Liv.
Liveager?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anyone know
how do you
these
feel
people aside from Marcus and Gremloe?
I know
Oh,
Liveager.
okay.
No,
Yeah,
Read and
there
Rap
is a few.
definitely does.
They are part of the QAnon Anonymous podcast, so of
I mean,
course I know them.
If Tofu's in here, Tofu probably has some good follow
Oh yeah.
recommends.
What's Tofu's Twitter?
Yeah, Gremlin, how
follow
do you
you.
feel about Squirrel?
Oh, Squirrel? Love Squirrel. I mean, impossible for Squirrel not to post without referencing Chomsky, but
Yeah, Chomsky -- stan Squirrel.
yeah, but Twitter Squirrel's definitely a good one. I'd have to think about a couple because there's like follows I have. Any of your favorite politicians? Follow Bernie, follow AOC, follow Ilhan. Like, that's kind of obvious, right?
I guess the thing is I'll like
Yeah.
sit down to Twitter and I'll be like, okay, I need to follow more people, and then I'll like sit at the empty search bar for like 10 minutes and I can't think of anyone. And then I'll just be like doing bench work and I'll be like, oh, I should follow this person on Twitter. And then I fucking forget by the time I get my phone back again.
Oh yeah, Dr. Neuro would also be a fucking fantastic follow. He's tweeting up a fucking storm recently in a very good way. Because everything is just moving a mile a minute. Actually, speaking of, that'll be a good transition into talking about this because holy fuck. Let me find the link to put into the ministry Discord. I tweeted about this sometime recently. Where was it? I was like rage tweeting about this at 3 a.m. So
it was pretty good.
Oh, here we go.
Fun read.
It comes with a video. I guess you can really watch the video at your leisure. It's just like a news video. But Fauci says allegedly COVID's over.
Oh, I heard about
we
I
did
saw
it?
this.
He walked
Yeah,
it
Fauci
back.
actually did it.
He
did
said
the
we're in a
thing.
transition phase, right?
Yeah, he said that the pandemic phase is over. The tweet I linked is from another like very well respected MD, basically saying like we're at the same case counts that we had last July, which is an undercount because of at-home testing. Why are we moving the goalpost? What the fuck?
He's already
We are at
walked
the
this back.
same-
His new thing is that we're at a stage in the pandemic, but we're still within the pandemic.
He should just not talk.
He should just shut up. Yeah.
Like you do more harm than any kind of I don't know if like any kind of good, but he certainly does a lot of harm by
Our
jumping the
cases have
gun.
gone up 60% just in my state in the last 2 weeks. I mean, it's not a lot of cases, but the fact that we almost like, increased our case count significantly in a week is kind of scary. But
Here, there's something in my bookmarks I'll also link in the ministry chat. But the CDC, within the last couple of months, the insane part of the CDC, I may add, they cooked the books on the COVID map, so it looks a lot less full of COVID than it actually is, it being the country. So if you look at what I linked, if you look at the Northeast, it's all bright red again, which is a giant undercount. So like, it was really weird, like looking at data and then hearing the dude running the show saying like, yeah, COVID's over. And then like Greg said, like having to walk it back, probably because of blowback from saying something like that.
All right.
So like,
do you know where that map is? Is that the CDC map?
I think that's the old CDC map, as in like the map governed by the old metrics. Because now they're only looking at hospitalizations rather than sheer case counts in terms of determining whether it's high or low. Which is fucking stupid because that hospitalizations come like weeks after cases. But all that to say, like, kind of piggybacking on what you just said, Gremloe, why do we keep trotting Fauci out? Like, is he the only scientist that fucking exists?
Yes.
It feels like they're propping him up to do capitalism's bidding at this point.
I mean, you can make that argument for sure. For sure, you could.
So, I mean, I guess like maybe we can go around the horn. Like, do you guys feel like COVID's over? Because I think we could probably talk about fucking Hassan in this discussion too. But like,
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Just ask your favorite streamer.
Jesus Christ, he was saying some wild shit today that I've been timestamped about. I don't even know what he
one
said.
thing you gotta know about Hassan. He's not a scientist.
Yep.
He's a himbo. So
It kind of
His
does give
political
you like
takes
the
are good.
Norman perspective on that. Like, I wouldn't consider Hassan a Norman in most regards.
But yeah,
But-
the COVID, it's because
yeah.
he doesn't know a lot about it. And
Yeah.
so, he's
Yeah.
going to be a normie in that regard. But
Yeah.
Thanks for the jargon explanation. I was so lost. I was like,
Norman, someone who's not like super into
Fuck
all of
me.
the literature.
thank you. Thank you.
well, it's not even that he's not super into the literature. It's that he has the view that a lot of Americans
Yeah.
like have by default right now, which is that, okay, like case numbers are low. We're done. Like time to be normal again.
Yeah. And like, how much can you expect people who did the right thing, wore the mask, got the vaccines, like how much can you expect them to really comply with outside of mandates?
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's something for us to talk about. Like, do we feel like still wearing a mask at this point is like viable, even on a like an individual level? Like, do you guys still mask?
Um, if I'm
Yep.
being honest, like most of the time, no. But that's also because I'm in the South, man. If I can,
Doesn't
people,
matter. I am the
I
only
know.
person wearing a mask any fucking place I go, and I'm still fucking rocking it because
I know.
oh, I
Um,
have to wear it at work because our lab's connected to a cancer hospital, so we have a lot of immunocompromised like patients. Just walking through the same lobbies and touching the same things and breathing the same air. But
Right.
even if I'm just like going into the gas station or something, I still throw it on. If anything,
Yeah.
just to own the conservatives.
I mean, I don't know who tuned in for the IRL stream I did in New Orleans, but we were unmasked the entire time. Louisiana has never really been masked. Like when the question is like, does it feel like COVID is over? It's been over for a long time for a lot of areas of the country. Like the deaths haven't ended, but the masking up and stuff, like that's been gone.
Oh yeah, same. Like Utah has not been masking since January, so
Jesus.
I've been the only person wearing a mask in anywhere except for my work for literal months. Like I always look around when I go into stores just to see like if anyone else is wearing a mask. I've maybe seen like 3 or 4 people wearing masks since January.
I
Jesus
wear it in the
Christ.
store. I wear it if I'm teaching. I did forget my mask as I went into the office the last 2 days and was like, shit. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Gremloe. We live in areas where like whenever I wear a mask in a place where there's not a lot of masking, the other people who are wearing masks give me this look like, oh, thank God there's another one masking here, right? And
Yeah.
and the unmasked, um, I'm surprised I haven't had gotten into more shouting matches with people without masks, if I'm being honest.
I've never gotten into like a tiff with anybody about wearing a mask. The only time I got into something with somebody was whenever, because I open carry in most areas, was whenever I like was open carrying, popped on my mask to go into a gas station and grab a drink real quick, forgot I was carrying, and several people were like, "What the fuck? You're not supposed to wear the mask with your gun." And I was like, "Which would you prefer I take off?" And they were like, the mask." I'm like,
The
okay.
fuck? Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Such a bullshit. Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, when I'm open carrying my massive dong,
Wow, Senator Larry Craig. Thank you for joining the panel.
Senator.
I mean, so my wife's pregnant right now, so I'm kind of, it
Oh
matters.
wow, mods.
I think.
Just flexing on us again.
Oh, thanks. I told you guys. So I mean, I think hopefully this pandemic has kind of like normalized people just wearing masks. I think socially, if they want to, if they're feeling sick or if they're with someone that's immune compromised, hopefully they people feel safe to do that. And I think that that's something that I like to stay.
Yeah.
If I'm indoors with like a lot of people, like I will like throw one on just because of that. I had the sniffles and the 2 most common symptomatic effects of COVID. So like a sore throat and just kind of had like a little bit of body aches and stuff. So I went and got a COVID test. So just to make sure that I was negative. Probably wouldn't have done that, just would have thought it was a cold or whatever if my wife wasn't pregnant. But we've changed like so much of our habits that we don't really go indoors with a lot of people anymore. We're on outdoors. We're going to playgrounds and stuff like that. We go to the zoo a lot, like in San Diego. If we're outside, then we're not really by a lot of people. So I'm not like wearing a mask. If we're going indoors and there's a lot of people in there, I will wear a mask. If there's someone with the mask on, I'll always have a mask with me. If there's someone with the mask on, I just kind of like out of courtesy just put it on because I want them to feel more comfortable. So it just matters, I feel like.
Garlic asked a question as to why is COVID so bad in Shanghai.
Dude, that was a gnarly video. That's all over Reddit. See them like bolting the doors closed and shit.
Yeah. So
wow.
okay, the bolting the doors thing. That's a practice that's been kind of propagandized about. Like, it's not good, you know, but it's also deceptive. Is that they're controlling entrance flow of where people are coming from, so they can account of like who's coming out. It's not good. It's authoritarian, but it's not what people think it is.
Yeah, well, I know, like, I think there's like websites and shit like run by the Chinese government where you can, look at the lockdown status of your particular complex, because I think they have enough contact tracing to where even if like one person in the entire building gets a COVID case, the entire like quarantine lockdown timer resets for the whole building. So like it's a 14-day thing unless somebody gets COVID, in which case the 14 days start over at day one. Again, rinse and repeat for every case. Part of what's driving it is the fact that the Chinese actually just have really shitty vaccines that they use domestically. It's actually a really interesting comparison between China and Taiwan, because Taiwan used the mRNA vaccines that we have, but China didn't.
What kind of vaccine is China using? Like Johnson & Johnson type? Like...
Oh no, they had their own inactivated virus vaccine, so it's just a heat-killed virus stuck into a vaccine.
DNAmber.
Those were like okay before the variant era hit, but then once variants started popping off, then things looked really grim in terms of their elderly population in China. I think that's why they're trying to be so forceful, because their vaccine coverage and their elderly is basically almost at nothing because their vaccines suck so fucking much right now. But all that to say, like, case counts in China and in Taiwan, they're both going up pretty precipitously. But deaths in Taiwan are not, because they use the mRNA vaccines. And we don't know the true extent of it in China because we're never, ever going to get that information from the Chinese government. So it's really fucked up when you like take a look at some of the videos about the lockdown in Shanghai. I could probably find some of this on Twitter and link it to you. But like for the CCP, they're not doing as much as they claim they were going to do for their populace. Like the food drop-offs are like paltry. Like they're starving to death on these fucking lockdowns. Like I'm generally in favor of that as a policy, only if you're going to deliver enough material goods to people to keep them afloat, which they're not. Like they hands down are not. Yeah, I'll see if I can find something to show you.
Dude, I'm really curious about your guys' thoughts on. I was watching the French debate for last week, and
Macron v Le Pen.
Yeah, it was really interesting. Like they actually had visible counters on like how long each side had talked. I thought that was a really cool thing that I want to see in more debates here. But it was interesting, like a blast from the past issue, man. Fucking. Islamic masking, and I was like, whoa, this I feel like is a really interesting thing to talk about post-COVID now, because a lot of the arguments against them masking, the women masking, were like, no, this is an open democracy, you need to show your face, you can't just like have everyone masking around, walking around. Obviously it's a pandemic, and it's like it's a different time, and there's different public health things. Like I'm obviously concerned.
Yeah, but
like,
it's the same thing with working from home and stuff. Like a lot of people are like staying working from home now because COVID made companies realize and made workers realize that that's totally fine. So I mean, I didn't even think of that.
But what do you guys think? Do you guys think, does it change your viewpoint on whether or not like the traditional like fully face coverings should be banned from anything?
It's called
not really.
niqab. A niqab, when it's just the eyes. NIQAB.
Yeah, like, is it really such a hindrance on social interaction and recognition of people? Like,
I've never had a problem with it. I think people that have a problem with it are like either feeding into their inherent biases that they haven't acknowledged, or they outright don't like Muslims, in my opinion. I think that's like, it's like people saying that they don't want their kids learning about gay people. It's kind of the same thing. It's just like, it's not really a problem. It's only a problem if you make it a problem.
I don't think Le Pen actually cares about that issue. I think it's more of a Islamophobia thing.
Yep.
Which, I mean, Le Pen's party, that's the right sector, or is something right? The national something.
I mean, like, country like Dubai has some of the lowest rates of personal crime in the world. If that stat still holds up, I don't know. It's been a while since I looked, but I mean that with the fact that actually I don't know how like conservative Dubai is.
Very.
I mean,
yeah,
comparatively, like, so I went to Dubai and Kuwait with my dad, and like you go from Dubai to Kuwait, it's very different. Like Kuwait's much more conservative. So, and we were like downtown, so in Dubai, so I didn't really see a lot of like traditional stuff like that. But
I think it depends on.
there's a
You
correlation.
are probably
there.
right. Like the area you're in, because if you're in like working class Andy part of Dubai, it's probably a little more conservative. If you're in like the luxury tourist area of Dubai, then
Right.
not so much.
Amber, did you wear a hijab?
No,
Oh wow, interesting.
you don't have to. If you're a tourist, you don't have to. Unless you're going to like a mosque or something, you don't have to. I did have to dress like a little more, cover the legs, wear at least a short sleeve. I didn't have all my tattoos when we went. So it
Yeah.
wasn't as much of an issue. I feel like I'd probably have to wear long sleeves if I went there now, just because of the tattoos. But it was really interesting going there as a 5'9" redhead pale person and getting stared at like a Muslim woman does in the U.S. So it flipped. Like the guy that checked my passport when we were leaving didn't even look at my passport. Like he just stared in awe for a second and then handed it to me and was like, "Yeah, go.
Dude, it's
Everyone's looking
Pokemon
at
shit.
You don't
dude.
belong here."
Everyone's looking at you like Tormund in Game of Thrones. Where's the big woman?
Wow, that's the first time I've heard Game of Thrones referenced
I
in
know.
like a
He was
decent
going
We
amount
all
of time.
blocked it after season 8.
Yeah,
okay?
don't
You
even-
can't blame
Fuck you,
us.
D&D. You
Dude, I
piece
just
of
finished.
shit.
I just finished. Speaking of, I quit watching television shows after Game of Thrones. First one that I watched the full season of. Everyone's all hot on Squid Game, so I watched that. Finished that last night. That's absolute dog shit. Do not watch that show. That was awful.
Are
that
you
was
okay?
an awful show.
Okay, we're kicking Greg off.
That was
the
a,
panel.
no. Don't even try to. Don't even
Cancel
try.
this man.
No.
Boo
Don't even.
this man.
Do not even
Okay,
try to
listen,
defend that
listen,
ending. That
listen,
is
listen.
atrocious.
Listen,
It's
one,
open
they're
for a
making
second
another season.
No. That see, this is the thing. This is with TV shows. It was 9 hours of my time, and it was an awful ending. I didn't like
Why
it.
are you watching TV?
Exactly. This is why I
You're
don't.
upset
This
about the time commitment.
and this is why after Game of Thrones, it completely changed me. I completely quit TV. Like, think about an hour and a half, a good movie. You're in. You're out. You're done. I like it.
No, I feel the exact opposite. I feel like movies are a huge commitment because you have to sit there for that length of time.
Oh.
No breaks. Watching TV though, you can watch an episode. And
No,
like,
see, that's the thing.
whatever.
You're doing the
You can-
microtransaction.
You can no.
That's what
With
TV is.
movies-
TV is a
with movies,
microtransaction.
You can't
You're like-
stop paying attention because with a movie you have to pick up the whole plot. With a TV show, you can kind of like auditorily skim things and get by just fine. Like 9 times out of 10.
Is your critique of Squid Game simply that its ending was the very like Hollywood, oh, there's gonna be more, or was there actually something in the show, the actual like content that you didn't like?
Okay,
'Cause all in
we're
all,
just
it's
gonna go
very
full
good.
spoilers. It came out like 6 to 8
Yeah,
months
it's-
ago, so I think it's
haven't
fine.
seen it yet, just watch it.
I felt like the ending, like it was just the whole, it was very like stereotypical. That guy was so old to be in the game to begin with, so he obviously like wasn't. He didn't have the whole point of the show is that these are people that are hugely in debt, that have no future in this society or whatever. So now they're getting this chance to kind of like fight amongst themselves to restart their new life with been being rich kind of thing. That's how they portray it, right? It's like, well, this old dude, if he won the whole thing, and how's he going to spend the money? Why does it matter to him at all? So it's kind of like a weird thing to have.
Did you watch the whole show? Because the old guy is not what you're saying he is.
He was one of the guys that was running the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay, he did.
Yeah. That's my whole point. That's my whole point. So to reveal him as like this progenitor of the whole show is kind of like, well, he was already kind of like weirded, like ostracized from kind of the group and outside of the whole point of the show anyway. So it was kind of weird. It was like, oh, okay, now he's like one of the originators, and you're like, okay, so he is. So what's the point? And then he was like, oh yeah, we just do it for fun. We just do it for shits and giggles. And then 456 is like, why do you do this? What are you doing this for? It's like, well, you fucking found out, dude. It's just a bunch of fucking bored billionaires. You get over it. I don't know. It's just kind of
okay. So, do you watch a lot of Korean cinema, or is this like your first exposure to it?
No, I'm not. I don't partake. I don't.
Okay.
I've never watched Korean stuff either, but I enjoyed.
It was
Squid
so
Game.
Korean for him though to do the honorable thing and kill himself at the end. That was like the Sudoku. Like no, that was
Sudoku.
no.
Oh my God!
What is
Did
it?
you access?
What is
Okay, I
the?
say it on purpose like
It's
that.
Seppuku.
Japanese. It's a samurai
Yeah,
thing.
I know. I'm doing cross cultural. We're
It's the
going
meme.
cross
It's the
cultural
meme.
references here. We're not just staying in one part. So
You're good. So, there are
so
a lot
Korean.
of shows like Squid Games within Korean cinema that are like subtle or at times not so subtle, like critiques of capitalism and like the class divide and debt.
Oh
as a
yeah, like
common
Monster
theme.
and stuff. I heard about that one.
Yeah, Parasite.
That's
That's
it,
another,
that's
like,
it,
common
yeah.
one people will reference.
Yeah, I was about to say Parasite.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely watch that, but The Wailing, probably one of the best horror movies to come out in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the school children one where they all like basically kill each other? It's like Lord of
That's-
Flies.
That's Battle Royale. That's
yeah,
a genre
Yes.
movie.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So
Another good one you need to watch, Greg.
Train to
Squid
Busan
Game-
is also good if you're looking for Korean cinema.
Yeah. Train to
No,
Busan.
no. See, you guys, I'm going the other way. I'm not. No more TV. That's the nice thing. I just watch.
There's so much good cinema
No.
out
We're
there.
watching Greg become a boomer before our
No,
very eyes.
TV. That's fine. I'm okay with it. I'm okay being old. I'm okay with it. I have gray hair. You got to accept it if you have gray hair. It's like okay.
Yeah, but you don't have to accept
you
the
have
like
cool gray hair.
stereotypical boomers shit.
No,
You
it's
can
no,
be
no.
old
You
and be
just
a
like
cool, like hippie.
that's fine.
old
I'm not going to be
person.
forced to watch something that I don't want to watch. I don't enjoy watching. I mean, that's like that doesn't make
Don't,
any
like, watch
sense.
Something you don't want to watch, but I mean, like
No.
to just
All right, let's-
disclude like all entertainment. That's I
Yeah.
don't
I
know.
wanna probe this
that's
a
exactly what I'm
little-
doing.
A little
That's
further,
exactly.
Okay, so Batman, the new Batman.
Yeah.
Oh,
seen it?
so good.
I haven't
Oh,
seen
you
it.
liked it?
Haven't
Oh,
seen
I
it.
loved it. I hate superhero movies, and I loved it.
Really?
Nice.
What was it
Serious?
about it? Because I was not a fan.
I'll watch that one. That's okay. I mean, Batman's kind of a weird concept in general, but
Just a fascist
I
billionaire
think-
who beats up mentally ill people.
I mean, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Pay some
it's a
taxes,
superhero
asshole.
From like whenever the 50s, the 60s. Of course, it's gonna be like problematic in its origins. They can only do so much with the source material.
Right.
I liked how it was a bit edgier, I would say. Like, I feel like, okay, I have a huge bias against superhero movies. I think they're like just like Call of Duty games where they just repackage the same shit and ship it out and make money off of it. Insane amounts of money. So I
Absolutely.
don't usually like superhero movies, and they're always like, at least Marvel has been like the same formula where they like
Oh yeah,
have
happy endings. Yeah.
happy endings, jokes scattered throughout. Like you're never down too long, but like the Joker movie was really good, and the new Batman, I feel like, are kind of subverting expectations for superhero movies, and I appreciate that as someone who doesn't like like the traditional superhero movies.
I mean, okay, so
Also,
seen the
I was a
movie,
huge Twilight fan in
Okay.
middle and high school, so
There
Dude.
we go.
I didn't want to lead with that. It wasn't the main reason I
okay.
enjoyed the movie.
Oh.
It just
So,
it was
have
the
you seen
only
the movie
it was the only
Seven?
thing that brought me into
Yeah,
the movie.
that's a good one.
So
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Seven.
so
What?
have you seen the
What
movie
movie?
Seven, Amber?
Nope.
Brad Pitt, Where's the Box? Okay,
Oh man.
you've seen
watch
Seven since you've seen the Batman. The Batman is just Seven, but with
You know,
Batman.
people said that about another movie in the past, and I can't remember what it was. I was
The
talking
one-
about a movie that I really liked, and someone was like, "It's just 7," and I'm like, "I've never
Saw?
seen it." No. Oh my god, that's gonna bother me. Hold on. Movies that are like 7.
You're gonna have a big list come up. But
I
my
know.
problem with the Batman was like it didn't know what kind of movie it wanted to be. Is it a horror movie? Is it a neo-noir? Is it a detective movie? Like, or is
But
it
I
just a
liked
straight up
that
superhero movie?
I like that they meshed it all together because it was not what I was expecting. Like I said, I don't usually like superhero movies, so to not have it be like a normal superhero movie was
So
nice.
there's in the opening scene of Batman. This is not a spoiler. Bruce is like monologuing as he's like walking in disguise, not as Batman, but like as a civilian during Halloween, and he's like doing an inner monologue, and he
I remember.
talks about how like being up for doing nights for 2 years is like made his mind like warp, and he doesn't like know what's real and what's not. So in my initial impression, it's like, okay, we're going to get a Batman movie that examines like the psychopathy of Batman. That's really cool. We should do more of that. And
So-
as the movie went on, it just wasn't that. And Batman's pro cop by the end of it.
Yeah, that's I kind of feel the same way as you do. I was hoping for like something real fucking dark, and we got like, I don't know.
Also,
Not-
Catwoman walks like a GTA 3 prostitute. I'm just gonna say it.
She does.
It-
I
Let's just come
dab-
back to
right.
I
exactly.
dabbled in GTA 5 on that server a little bit, and I
Yeah.
know exactly what you're talking about. And
Yep.
I know it's not GTA 3, but it's similar.
yeah, they do the same thing.
The movie I was gonna say that people said like was just like 7 was The Little Things with Jared Leto.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a good one.
I used to like Jared Leto, and then I found
I was
out
about
he's
to
got
say-
a bunch of sexual.
Dude, we looked at a doc on his
allegations.
cult recently. Oh my god.
Morbius sweep.
I saw him in concert. The dude was wearing a like Jesus clothes, like
Yeah.
full white robe. He had a huge beard. He looked magnificent. But then like I've looked into his like sexual misconduct allegations, and I was like,
You ever seen Get Him to the Greek with Russell Brand?
like I said, not a big movie person. There's
There's
like
a-
10 movies I've seen and remember.
The movie is about a rock star, and it opens up with a music video by the rock star called African Child, where he's like in a Somali war zone, but he's dressed up like white Jesus, and he's like, oh, I feel just like an African child. Oh, but my mind's so lost all the time. And looking at the Jared Leto doc, I was like, okay, so he's basically just this character in this movie because he dresses exactly like him, and his music
Yeah.
is exactly like that now.
I just listen. I never outgrew the emo phase. So 30 Seconds to Mars.
The Kill
was, like,
is a bop.
big. Yeah. I mean, his
Yeah,
newer
true.
music, even like his newest album was pretty lit. I enjoyed it.
Are you telling me that you're part of the Echelon?
What the fuck is the echelon?
Of
That's his
what?
cult, or what his
Oh,
fans call
no.
themselves.
Weird.
Give me
I
something.
had a
to look
militant
into.
atheist
It's-
phase.
it's
Like, do
their,
you
like-
think I'm gonna join a cult? No.
This is the Echelon.
Is that a house?
No, it's like it's a pyramid, and there's like up on the
Wow.
top part. That's the the
Illuminati?
Illuminati. Yeah.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that checks out. I thought he was based though, because his album cover for his newest album had like the top Googled terms of 2016 or something, and it was like a bunch of shit about like Trump and like Bitcoin and
CRT.
I thought he was, yeah, I thought he was like making a huge statement, and then I heard all this shit about him, and I was like,
Right.
Wow. I had no idea about this guy.
Oh, he's crazy. You should
He's
look
something
into him,
else.
Professor Q. Some of the stuff they do kind of has crossover with not QAnon, but a lot of conspiracy theories.
So I knew about Russell Brand, but I didn't know about Alito. I've been bad about not keeping up because I'm like, I can't wait till summer. Summer
Right.
is gonna fucking rock. I'm gonna get some shit done. Oh.
Yeah, I know. Isn't there some sort of like overlap with like the Nixvim shit in Jared? Like, is it just like similar vibes, or?
I don't know what that is.
Nexium's the cult. There's a Netflix documentary on it.
I love a good Netflix documentary.
I
I'm
know.
a sucker for those.
Okay, has anyone watched The Family on Netflix? It's a
Sounds
No.
supposedly a documentary about like
Oh yes.
what's his name? He's in charge of like the Republican prayer breakfast.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it
So
actually.
it's about like a religious I guess you could say like cult. It's like an underground like cult. They're in like the Heritage Foundation, Moral Majority, Republican Prayer Breakfast. But they have like this guy who's in a bunch of pictures with a bunch of presidents and this like hyper Christian nationalist group is just like behind the scenes indoctrinating people who like want to get into the DC crowd, like interns. They'll like house them at these places right outside of DC in like Connecticut, and there'll be like the boys' house and the women's house, and they like train them to be assistants to like powerful people within government. But they also do like frat and sorority hazing. It's very weird.
Marcus
and-
realizing the sex chain going on in his chat was mwah.
Way to bring
Here,
me all.
I'll contribute to it.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, this whole thing's been about sex, kind of underlying, right?
I just saw his eyes go to chat and then he just starts fucking laughing. And I'm like, yeah.
But
Anyway.
Gremloe, I didn't realize like there's almost like a Greek lifestyle pipeline into DC. Like,
Well, yeah, they have houses there. Congressmen are like involved too in these stuff, and they'll stay like because like where you live and stuff in DC. If you're coming in, you know, they basically share like a frat.
Dude, it's
Yeah.
a big fucking deal where you live in DC.
Mhm.
It's
Well-
insane.
I could never figure out if that doc on Netflix was like 100% true or some of it was like kind of
Embellished.
dramatized for TV.
No, it's definitely
Like,
true. It's been well known for a while.
I mean,
Oh, okay, never mind then. Holy shit.
yeah.
It's wild. I had to turn it off. I like got mad at the TV. I was like, oh, what the fuck?
That's how I was when I watched Handmaid's Tale.
Oh god,
I only got to like season 3 and I was like, I can't fucking,
I couldn't
I
watch.
can't do it
Same.
anymore.
I can't do
I couldn't
shows
do
like
it.
that.
Yeah.
It was way too stressful, way too close to home. If anyone's seen Handmaid's Tale, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Texas, looking at you.
yeah, and our fucking Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett
Oh my
was in
God.
some
She
like
was getting-
real life
yeah,
equivalent.
No, she was getting like elected as I was watching it. Yeah, that's why I had to stop because she was getting like put on the Supreme Court as I was watching Handmaid's Tale, and I'm like, nope,
Speaking of which, did you guys hear about the who is it, the football coach or whatever who like prayed
Oh,
on the 50-yard
yeah.
line?
Yeah, he like wouldn't even show his face in court.
Oh shit! I didn't hear that part.
Oh yeah, he
Um,
like covered up his face with his gloves the entire time, like
Yeah,
sobbing.
So for those not in the know, yeah, it was a football coach, and he had the habit of praying on the 50-yard line. And
Oh, yeah.
the school told him to stop several times.
Oh,
You
we're
know-
thinking of two different people.
Oh, wow.
I was gonna say I think I know what you're talking about, Gremloe, because I think you tweeted about it,
Yeah,
right?
I did.
Yeah, I saw that.
Whoa, so we're talking about two different stories? Jesus fucking Christ, with this
Yeah.
timeline.
But I
God damn it,
remember
America.
the story of that coach that you're talking about when it first broke because it was like a popular thing to talk about at the time.
Yeah, they just ruled on it, didn't they, Professor Q?
Yeah, and I believe they said he wasn't breaking the law. Is that, or like it wasn't an issue of like a violation of First Amendment?
Yeah, here, let me, because I think I've got an NPR article pulled up here.
I didn't think they'd ruled on it yet.
This is why Satanists are important.
Hell
Hail
yeah.
Satan.
True.
To
True.
call out the fucking hypocrisy that is visited upon by the good Christian values of America, even though
Yeah,
it's
Supreme
separation of
Court
church and
leans
state.
towards coach in case on school prayer. Members of the court's conservative majority.
Was he doing it
indicated that-
alone?
No, it was
Okay, then that's a problem. Because I was
In
going to
the-
say, if he's just doing a Tim Tebow shit, like that, whatever.
yeah, no, in the locker room, on the 50-yard line, all over.
So-
And wow.
The thing that frustrates me about this is my high school wrestling coach did this.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Yeah. So at our practices, once we finished up, everyone would, and I didn't participate in this, but everyone would like lay down. It was very ritualistic, all in a circle at the center of the mat, and everyone put their hands in, and they would sing like 3 Holy Marys
I think you were in a
or Hail
cult.
Marys. It was very weird. Yeah,
That's
it was.
really weird.
Yeah, and the coach would
That's
do
like
it with
not
them.
even Christian, like.
I
Weird.
don't know. It was very weird, and I just think like this is clearly like, a violation of some kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it looks like they haven't ruled on it, but I do remember hearing some of the court arguments, and the conservative justices were all like, yeah, and the more liberal justices were like, yeah, no, this is putting undue pressure on students.
I feel
to
like people
participate.
never account for that, like the role that a coach plays as a leader and a mentor and a role model, and how that puts pressure on students to do it, whether they realize it or not.
So
Well, and if they want to do
coaches-
sports, like you
Yeah.
have to have good words from the coaches.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, as soon as you said that, Gremloe, I was like, "Oh shit, Gremloe's not making the team." Like that's,
Oh no.
you know what I mean? Like, oh no.
So I used to do a whole unit on it's a Marxist theory called world systems theory, which basically looks at like how the U.S. leans on third world countries and then puts in place these ruling elite, right, who have money. And so I would call the coaches third world, they're comparable to third world compradors, which are these ruling
Yeah.
elite, because it's their job to basically sell you this system of oppression. And all the athletes who take sociology of sport with me totally get it. Because like by the end of the class, and there may even be some watching tonight, so I better reel it in just a bit. But by the end of the class, I kind of start getting them to kind of think real critically about the sociology of sport, and like how there's this kind of hierarchical system that is exploitative, right? And yeah, somebody in chat actually knows the author Emmanuel Wallerstein, which is like cool. That means I know 3 people who know who that guy is.
Yeah, like Gremloe, when you describe that, I don't even know what to call it. That prayer ceremony, that
Yeah, ritual.
ritual. I mean, it's literally a pentagram away from being something entirely different.
Yeah, it's just
Like-
instead of like
I mean, most rituals are just a pentagram away from being something entirely different.
Yeah, I would be more than happy to kind of lead that ceremony for sure.
what?
Yeah, like let's go, let's do this. I'll be the ritual master or whatever.
Yeah, it's
Play
just
Aleister Crowley.
it's just so
Robbie.
inappropriate. Like for my kids, I'm like worried about that. Like a teacher or someone at school like introducing religion to them. I know it's going to happen, but it's like, geez, like it's just weird that I've basically resigned to like that's where my kids are going to learn about religion is like through school. It's
Took
just
a
kinda-
Western religions class as an elective, and the entire class, like, yeah, we learned about stuff that I had already known, but regardless, the professor really enjoyed shitting on atheists the entire fucking class. So yeah,
so back when I was a young, budding, little devil worshipping shit talker, and it was my freshman year in high school. Yeah, my typing teacher I would finish early because I was an insanely fast typer, but she would take me into the hallway and give me these religious sermons about how I need to get right with God and it was like for the remainder of the class. So I'd finish in like the first 10, 15 minutes, and then like for the rest of the class, it's me and her outside the hall. Yeah, it was fucked up.
Did I tell you guys my missionary story?
No.
Oh, let's hear it.
Do it.
So, in high school, in my militant atheist phase, there was a teacher, the psychology teacher, who coincidentally ended up being asked to step down for relationships with students. Beside the point, there was a psychology teacher who was like the only atheist I knew. So I would go to his class after school and talk to him because he was like my only support system at the time. I mean, he was probably grooming me, but regardless, he was my only support
If you were
system
going to
at the
him,
Anyway, so I used to carry around God is Not Great because I really wanted someone to fucking fight me because I'm surrounded by Mormons and I was really angry about it. Anyway, so this guy knew that, and he knew because he went to his classroom after class because we had a class together with this teacher. So he knew I hung out there and talked about atheism after school. So one day he decided to visit. So we started this ritual where like every other day after school, he would come and I would debate him. He was on the debate team. I wasn't. I was just mad. So we would just debate about religion after school for like an hour, and the atheist psychology teacher would mediate, a little biased towards me, but anyway, so that went on for the rest of the school year. We graduate. He leaves on his mission. You don't hear from them when they're on their mission. 2 months later, he messages me on Facebook. And he's like, hey, so it's like a whole novel. He's like, I returned from my mission early. I felt like I was a door-to-door salesman, and I just kind of like started questioning why my religion is true and all of these people with another religion aren't true. And so I decided to come home, and I was wondering if you wanted to go on a date.
Oh.
And then he
did not
dumped
see
me a
that
month
coming.
later because I was too sarcastic for him. So,
I believe that.
that's
Whoa.
funny.
that's my missionary story.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Let's emotes in chat for that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I usually
ending
talk
was
to
not
them
what
when
I
they come to the door and stuff. I usually I'll talk to them and stuff. I feel
Yeah,
bad.
we have LDS people that go around our neighborhood, and I've always said like, hey, if they ever show up, like, if they're down for being on stream while I'm live, I mean, I'll do it.
That's a great
Oh
idea.
man. Yeah. You gotta record that.
Yeah. Because I would like break
Yeah.
out Capital and be like, have you heard about Marx?
Have you heard about my Lord and Savior, Karl Marx?
Yeah.
Ever since I got all these tattoos, they're not as willing to talk to me about Mormonism anymore. But like in high school, before I had all the tattoos, I was like 3 guys I dated tried to like convert me.
Inundated.
Yeah.
It just means you need to proselytize in long sleeves now, I guess.
Honestly, I think that's why I got the tattoos in the first place, just to be like, hey,
It's a
fuck
repellent.
off. Yeah.
I feel
It's
like
like
didn't
mosquito
they
spray.
patch Mormonism where like that kind of stuff is okay now?
I know they had to patch in black people because they didn't
They
like
did
them very much.
in the 70s, 10 years after the movement.
I think it's like any other religion. You have extremists and more kind of progressives in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's some
it's-
religions that are like that have it built in, and some that don't. Right? You have like
Right. So I was gonna say Mormonism's definitely a little more robust against the spectrum kind of thing, because at least in Utah, it's very different than like if you meet a Mormon from another state. But
Someone brought up a really interesting, not to divert, but about this high school coach and what could potentially happen. Like
thank you, Carter, for the
They're-
correction.
they're gonna probably love this ruling, but what happens when like a Pentecostal whips out snakes on the 50-yard line and makes all the players start handling snakes, right? Like,
Wait. Am I lacking critical information?
yeah, so Pentecostals dance with snakes. And,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
speak in
so-
tongues.
Yeah.
Oh, those people. Okay.
So, it'll be all fun and games until a Pentecostal shows up and,
I always confuse Pentecostals and pescatarians.
I mean, I understand, but fuck.
One of
Both
those is
begin
very.
with a
My
P.
friend's a vegetarian, so that's just like really funny to me.
This begs the question.
I mean, I pick a fucking
Mormonism is not
pescatarian
about.
any day.
That's FLDS. That's not Mormonism. It's a different branch.
Oh, okay.
That split a long time ago. There's not polygamy in mainstream Mormonism anymore. That's only in like very select FLDS branch. It's like Amish people.
Like the
almost,
one that
the
Mitt Romney's
FLDS thing.
family's in.
I mean, he might have come from polygamy, but like.
Like right now they fight the like Mexican cartels in northern Mexico because they have a FLDS commune there. It's
Makes
gnarly.
sense.
There's a
It's not
Vice
allowed.
documentary about it. It's crazy. They're like it's fully automatic weapons, like actual
Holy shit.
war shit. It's gnarly.
Yep, Carter's got it right on. They will be really nice to your face, and then as soon as you leave, they'll say, "Oh, it's a shame
Wait,
she
Carter
has
in
so
your
many
chat right now?
tattoos." Yeah,
No,
he's
this is
my
her
husband,
husband, Carter.
Carter. No,
Oh.
my husband Carter. Sorry, he's also
Okay.
ex-Mormon. So.
Yeah,
is
it's really
funny.
confusing. Both streamer Carter and Amber's husband Carter are both ex-Mormons.
I remember you telling me
Yeah,
that.
the epiphany.
Whoa. What do they call that? Synchronicity?
Yeah.
Oh,
Serendipity.
both.
I prefer serendipity because it makes it sound exciting and happy.
Kind of does. How did we get here? What were we talking about?
I was literally
Who
about to
knows?
ask that question. We went down a couple of rabbit holes.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about TV shows and something, and then we
Yeah.
got back into.
Yeah, nobody could defend
oh no,
how
you brought up the
good
dude
Squid Game
praying on the
was.
50-yard line.
So
Oh yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
prayer.
you guys all
It wasn't completely unrelated.
I don't need to defend
Religion.
the Squid Game, okay? You need to defend your bad take.
Oh. You wish.
Yeah, we ain't out here on the Squid Game payroll.
Sorry, Carter just called me the embodiment of Satan.
Is that a
I'm no
bad
longer
thing?
Mormon. I married the embodiment of Satan. Like,
That'd be
that's my
cool.
fault. Fuck off. Anyway.
So yeah,
shit.
this guy praying at the 50-yard line, like if he's doing it to himself, because it wasn't like he said a prayer to himself. No, he made like a show of it. You know, he's kneeling. He's got like his like head in his hands. No, if you're just doing it to yourself, that's totally fine. But you made like a show out of it, like.
No,
didn't
but was
Sucked
he
it.
making
no
a
to
show out of it
people.
on his own?
Yeah, so like
I thought he was
would,
making the kids pray.
he didn't. So that's the clever
was
trick,
like-
isn't it? He doesn't make them, but he doesn't say no. Don't join me.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm wondering if the kids participate or if he's just
Yeah.
pulling a Tim Tebow and like kneeling and
No, the
like
kids
that's-
definitely
No.
participate.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
like, hey,
Okay.
kids, let's go pray now, right? And you don't want to be that one kid who says, no.
Yeah.
Wait, was this at a public school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus!
That's
That's
why
probably
it's-
what he was saying. But
That's why it's before Supreme Court. So, you know, I keep saying this, and I kind of, I do worry about the future we're heading into. But, eventually these fucking assholes are going to push things so far. I'm optimistic that there's going to be some unity happen.
to
Is this gonna be some
counteract
what?
it,
Some unity, right? Some
Oh,
unity
sure.
on the left, because these are things that were fought and decided long ago. So it's just fucked up to see it roll back like this.
Oh yeah. I mean, hey, I think if we get a Bernie 2024 and we really push for like the left unity, then we'll at least get something out of that. Inshallah.
I mean, that is definitely, evolutionarily, they've actually shown why religion exists because it creates unity. You're more likely to share resources with people in your religion. So there's, an evolutionary reason for religion to exist. And that is something that is really missing in just like living as an atheist is that like less community events, less connection to like
No.
support people. They'll absolutely add like a
No.
Sunday thing
There's
where
a-
people can like
the
go
Atheists of
together and stuff
Utah?
like that.
Dude, the atheists of Utah they work at like the homeless shelters. They have events like weekly.
Mutual aid.
They do like a bunch of charity work for the food banks and stuff in the homeless shelters. I don't
Okay,
know if
that's
that's
nice.
just like the Utah atheists, but
Yeah, it seems like,
Like,
I mean,
they're
I've
very
never
active.
seen that, but that's cool. I mean, there's like humanists
I
and
think
stuff
you have
that
to
are.
seek it out. You have to
but-
seek out those groups.
I mean, it's obvious. It's pretty obvious that like religion's a built-in, social structure with benefits. So
I think
I
don't
think
there's
too many
anything
people
bad
take
with,
it
like,
at that though.
Yeah. So like the kind of externalities that come from organized religion are obviously the things that nobody likes, or most reasonable people don't like. But the community aspect, participating in like charity and all that, that's all good. That's great. But those aren't the things that happen because of religion. They're
Well,
a-
he
an
was
action
saying
that comes
camaraderie and
from
like
it.
community, not like I
Um,
just brought up the charity thing.
I don't know. My like militant atheist stage kind of evolved as I listened more and more to Michael Brooks, who talked about like liberation theology. I think if we're going to like have any kind of leftist momentum like that has like staying power in the US, we have to like move beyond that militant atheist stuff because America's
yeah,
so
definitely.
hyper religious.
yeah, and having some type of like, I don't know, like meeting, like weekly meeting where people can come together and talk and share resources. And I mean, you have to kind of,
Yeah.
I've seen it as a force for good. I've seen it as a force for really bad shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think people just like give religion this exclusivity that it doesn't have. That's the thing. Like I
Like things that only
personally-
come when you have
yeah,
religion,
like
right? Yeah.
morals do not come from religion. Camaraderie and community, you can get those things outside of religion. Like a lot of the big, aside from this belief system, you can get all of those things outside of religion. The belief part, though, I have replaced personally with optimism and my views on humanity and humans being like, fundamentally good for the like majority and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, I
I've
know not
found
everyone.
more connection to humanity through like reading about like socialism and reading about liberation and class consciousness and solidarity than I ever did when I was growing up in a super religious community.
I've replaced my spirituality with empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, one Chad also brings up a good point. Thank you, Baldwin's Ghost, for saying this, but sort of the more secular people, as it pertains to either the left or just people who aren't religious, they don't have the backing of giant fucking billionaires and church mega pastors and stuff to like prop them up and make them sort of a
megapastors
greater
got nothing on the
oppositional
LDS
force.
Church.
Yeah, LDS is caked up.
10 billion.
well, there's not even like,
Incredible.
there's not even open atheists in Congress. And you can, in a lot of southern states, it's
11
actually
states you can't
illegal
be.
to be. Yeah, you can't be atheists in a lot of and work in
Well-
the state government.
Like, I always see these polls about people's views on, like, representatives with different characteristics, and, like, all these marginalized groups' acceptance have, mostly gone up. Like, a gay senator, representative, whatever, and atheist is still pittering at, like, 30% acceptance. It's
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
Very
Us-
weird.
Do we just double down? Do we have atheist mega churches where we celebrate our lack of belief?
Well,
Wasn't that what the
Gen Z
satanic
is-
church is? That's the whole point of it,
Pretty
kind
much.
of.
I mean, not really. The Satanic Church like does a lot of like rights.
Yeah, Satanic Temple is the like secular
Yeah,
advocacy
Satanic
group
Temple.
that
Yeah,
comes
I mean,
from
they're-
like a
Not Satanic
leftist
Church.
position.
They're-
Don't
yeah,
The
go to
they're-
actual
Satanic
like
Church.
Church of Satan are like unironic devil worshippers that want to sacrifice rabbits and
Yeah, it's
shit.
kind of like the
Yeah.
Satanic
Don't do
Temple
that.
versus
Okay.
Church of
Satanic
Satan.
Temple's the
Right.
good guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you want to support TST
Except
for sure.
I was reading their like 7 things. There was one I didn't agree with. It was like the right to offend or something like that.
That's
And-
LaVey.
Yeah.
No, that's the Satanic Temple.
Oh, okay. Never
They
mind.
have like
Is it-
their 7 I don't remember the 7.
Yeah, they're tenets, I think.
fundamentals or whatever.
Let's see if I can pull them up. Hang on, just waiting for the page to load. Their artwork is also off the fucking chain, by the way. It's really good shit. Acting with compassion and empathy towards all
It's
creatures.
number
That's
7.
oh,
That's the
okay.
last one.
People are, or no, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to
Maybe it's
inspire
6.
nobility in action and thought.
Remember. It was one of them. It was like we have the right to offend, or something like that.
That sounds
Oh yeah,
more
it's
what-
number 4. The freedom of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend, to willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own.
Yeah.
So it kind of brings us back to Elon on Twitter.
Well, I mean, you kind of. I mean, imagine not having that view. I mean, because a lot of religious people would say that's offensive that it even exists as a church.
I guess it's the part of me that like doesn't want to offend people with like word usage and and not being empathetic to culture or minorities and stuff like that. So that maybe I read into it the wrong way, but that's why I took issue with it. But
Yeah, I think it's just like a free speech absolutism type of deal.
Yeah.
yeah, which I don't really.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that like gets into, you know, social media censorship, but rather just like, yeah, people can say stupid, awful shit. Like that's just their right by existing. That's at least their position, I think. I think it's a very like Chomsky-esque position. Like all speech is free speech, even if it's in bad taste.
Oh,
Yeah.
correction. Carter corrected me. In 2020, the LDS Church managed about $100 billion in assets.
Wow. Yeah, that's gnarly.
I wanna
100
get in on
billion?
that investment plan.
Yeah, I wonder how that stacks up to Scientology too, because I know they're pretty cheeked up.
Oh, they're not.
How long till
anywhere.
the LDS gets into crypto?
They probably
Probably
are.
already are.
Yeah.
Hubbard
Yeah, if we're
coin.
being honest.
Get your NFT for the bedroom next to God. Get
We can have the holy underwear, but on NFT.
Oh, dude, you got
Oh,
to.
yeah,
You have
Magic
to,
Underwear
man.
NFT. Let's go.
You have to.
Dude,
Yeah. The
Dude,
LDS
we should
Church
get in
is
on
the
that.
richest church in the world.
That's
The
crazy.
Vatican is second with 30 billion.
Shut up. They're richer than
Richer
the
than
Vatican?
the Vatican.
I'm not kidding.
that's
Absurd.
insane.
List of wealthiest religious organizations.
Oh, also thank you, Danix, for reminding me of this disgusting fact. The only atheist in government is cursed in cinema.
Oh,
No.
Boo.
not ours. We don't claim her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's my
Scientology
senator.
only has 2 billion.
Wait,
That is,
which
yeah.
one?
Church of Scientology?
Only 2 billion, really?
They don't make that much
Wow.
money anymore. They had like the big scare like in the
You,
90s.
you murder one wife, I swear. She just disappears. Unbelievable.
Where's Shelley, David? Where's Shelley?
I will say
God.
there was a strange QAnon crossover with Scientology. So
Of course.
Redundus was the attorney
not
for
surprising.
Scientology, and she was heavily involved in the trucker convoy, heavily involved in QAnon, like doing all of these things. Someone must have found out because she's kind of disappeared. So from the trucker convoy people. So
Oh, I was gonna say, did they Jack Ma her?
no, I think someone found out and was like, yeah, we don't want Scientology around here. Get the fuck out.
Only good
Jesus.
wholesome Christians.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's the whole. I don't think that would work. Scientology is one of those
QAnon
ones
does
where you're
have,
like,
like-
damn, dude, like that's my favorite religion is Mormonism. I think that they give the best benefits of any religion, dude. You get God powers on your own planet. No other religion's offering that,
I was
dude.
about to be like,
Like it's amazing for real. What do Christians get? You get to come to the God party? That's weird. What if you want to leave the party? I can't leave the party? No, dude, I'm on my own
Yeah, you have
planet.
to sing. You have to listen to fucking people sing hymns all the fucking time.
Yeah.
That sounds like hell.
Greg, what's on your planet?
What's on my planet?
Yeah, what's
Yeah,
your
you
planet?
got
Wow,
planet.
I don't know. I've never thought about that, dude. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You're
Are we talking like tropical, subtropical, desert,
Man.
tundra?
all of it. You know
Okay,
what?
so
If I could,
diverse biome.
if I could go back, or go in the future, like time travel, I've always wanted to go back to the the time where the insects were the dominant in
God.
The
time.
mega
So like
insects.
6
You want the
foot
bug
like
planet?
wingspan butterflies and huge dragonflies that are
no,
gigantic,
no.
like beetles the
Stop
size of
that.
cars.
Wait, is Professor Q like have a
no.
phobia of insects?
I am definitely. Oh my God! Yes, no.
So that's what I would
wow.
do. Personally, that's what I would do. So I would probably do that on my own planet. Damn, I never thought about that. That's cool.
I am not
Thanks,
going
Gremloe.
to your planet.
That's really cool.
Professor Q, what's on your planet?
I'm being corrected. You don't get your own planet. You get to create your own existence.
Oh, dude, no, you
Your
get
own
you.
universe.
Whoa, you get your own planet, and
power
you
of
get you
God.
staff it with the people that you're married. That's why you're marrying all these women. That's who's gonna be there. That's who you're gonna
Wait.
populate the world with those people.
You do have an eternal family, but divorce kind of makes it messy.
You get god powers too on your own planet. God powers. Think about
At
that.
that point, you could just summon new women.
Yeah.
Like
If I'm being
Voltron.
honest, something that looks like Thor's home planet or something.
Oh, like Asgard?
Asgard, yeah.
Ooh.
Except way more homosexual.
So Asgard.
Yeah.
Or basically you want Valhalla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, Marcus?
I'd say, I don't know. I guess I want like the theme of my planet to be, I don't know, like you know that meme where it's like, if insert person here shut the fuck up, society would look like this, and it's like the futuristic city with the flying cars and shit. That would be like the theme of my planet. I guess a scientocracy, a giant like,
Jetsons.
science planet. You get all the
Interesting.
like transhumanist, ghost in the shell type shit going on.
Ooh.
Imagine. Oh.
I would love a hypothetical afterlife planet like that.
There you go.
I would have freckles finally.
Yeah, we could develop the spiritual technology to get you freckles.
Sprinkle some melanin. We're fine.
Dude.
Amber, what's on your planet?
Freckles. I mean, she just said.
Everyone's
True.
got freckles.
This is like the same thing with the transhumanist thing. Like, I have never put thought into this kind of shit, and I can't even think of anything right now. Like, there's not an ideal. I mean, somewhere where it's a solid 75 degrees all the time would be sick, because I'm always cold. But
Temperature control. All right.
yeah. But other than that, I don't know. I'm really bad at this, like, what is it?
Hypotheticals.
Yeah, hypotheticals just, like, don't make sense in my brain. Like, I just can't engage with them at all. Like, even conspiracy theories, I think that's, like, half the reason I find them so insane, like, ridiculous, is because I can't engage with, like, these hypothetical, like, situations like that.
See, I'm the complete opposite.
Yeah, I
Looking
like
at
the fantasy.
QAnon it's like like QAnon to me is like this weird fantasy comic book. That I just
Well,
keep
yeah,
getting
but,
issues
like,
of.
I could never, like, subscribe to that because it just doesn't, like,
Oh yeah,
you know what I
no.
mean?
Yeah, we need a safe word in case I go off the deep end. By the way.
So, here's a little segue before we get into my planet. I just want to announce, friend of the show, fellow Ministry of Science panelist, Kid Notkin, is officially a Twitch partner.
Oh shit.
Oh
he
shit.
did it.
Yeah.
He did it.
Plug.
Yeah.
Very
Damn.
nice.
W's in chat for the man Kid Notkin.
Maybe I need to
Nice.
get
Holy
into
shit.
politics. Maybe I'd be a partner by now.
Yeah, I popped into his chat one night and I said, "Oh hey, it's Night Gremloe."
Okay.
Pretty
He's
low.
way more entertaining than I am.
That's good.
Jesus.
Respectable
most
and
people are.
different in your own ways. So you have
Damn.
Thanks, girls. You're all pretty.
that's not what I meant. Anyway.
That actually brings up an interesting idea. I don't know if this is like necessarily too adjacent to what Gremloe's doing with civic duty, but I've entertained this with Prim behind the scenes, creating an episode or two, kind of to start off of this. But instead of just calling it, our typical ministry panel, we call it the re-education camp, and it's us with like one, political person on the platform or some chud like having to like pick their brain and being like, okay, why do you believe this? Let me teach you this. Like deprogramming, basically.
But Marcus,
Oh, good luck.
But Marcus, two things. One, they would feel like they're being ganged up on real
Right.
quick. Two, when are we doing our drunk PowerPoint presentations?
Drunk
shit.
PowerPoint? What's this about?
I have proposed a ministry episode on a Friday or Saturday or something where we make ridiculous PowerPoint presentations about stupid shit and we present them drunk.
Stupid. Define stupid shit.
I'm going to have to give the example, aren't I?
Do it.
I made a PowerPoint about the top 9 asses in SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay.
And this is
So,
why
something
Greg doesn't let
really-
his kid watch SpongeBob.
Yeah, we had that whole conversation. But anyway, I think that would be fun. I had another idea for a PowerPoint today while I was
I definitely have to put
on my
my
break.
thinking cap on about what I can do. I'm a little too serious, so this was probably definitely needed.
Hence why I said drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna have
That'd be
to sit down with Read and Rap and work it in, as he has said. He's got a whole bracket of streamers ready, so we've got a lot of like potential
Mermaid Man is
and
not on the
upcoming guests.
list. There weren't any ass shots of Mermaid Man. I'm sorry.
No.
As long as Barnacle Boy is not on the list.
No, neither of them were. I couldn't find any pictures of. I literally like Googled every character in SpongeBob. I went down the list and like
So
Googled
is-
character name, butt.
only issue is that TOS?
No,
Okay.
So long as they're
Good.
clothed.
Making sure.
I'm not
No,
about to
not
show
even.
It's a kid's show.
SpongeBob
I
Rule
love-
34 on
I love
stream.
that a kid's show might not be
It's
taken.
whatever.
I mean,
No.
I have no idea what the rules are.
It's fine.
I'm always worried that I'm going to say something that's going to like fuck everybody over. Or something.
So long as you're not doing calls to violence or recommending how people solicit or purchase like drugs, like you're gonna be fine, Professor. You're fine.
Oh, just call. Never mind.
But yeah, no. At some point, we should all like have a brainstorming session about some of these like
Are we doing that this Saturday?
alternative panel ideas. Wait, did you say something about this upcoming Saturday?
Yeah. Is that not what's on the docket?
I don't think we had anything planned for this upcoming
Oh, not
Saturday.
this. Sorry, next Saturday. Next Saturday.
Oh, is
Yeah,
it
we'll,
next Saturday already?
we'll sit down
May
with Read and Rap
May 7th.
because he's being the goat behind the scenes, getting everybody
True.
like scheduled and
Dude.
ready to go.
Read and Rap is responsible for current beef between a YouTuber and Hunter Avalone.
Yeah, dude, I saw that. That was fucking hilarious.
I reached out to Hunter after we watched the discussion screaming match to tell him about like my experiences with like React YouTubers and the MRA pipeline. So maybe something will come of that.
Yeah, wasn't that whole discussion like Hunter Avalone was trying to talk to one of these creators that's being radicalized in that pipeline?
Well, it's that he's doing like men's rights activism, men going their own way, like alpha, women are irrational type content.
Oh,
Trying to help young men be the best
I think-
man that they can be.
I think ContraPoints had a really good take on like the men's rights movement where we kind of like on the left, we don't really give men like something to cling on to, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm obviously hella paraphrasing, but like I thought that
I mean,
was an
that's-
interesting point that I hadn't thought of before.
Well, that's
that
part of the
really, like,
virtue
helped
of
me develop
Hassan.
empathy. Yeah.
like that's why he's such a prominent person, because he's your leftist frat bro. Like
Yeah.
he's just a giant idiot who says
Himbo.
socialism things. He's a himbo. Yeah.
Yeah, anarcho-himboism.
Yeah, there's kind of
God,
like a
that-
weird.
Democratic himboism.
Yeah, I think
There's
he's
like a
little bit
weird
more
thing
left-wing
like
than that. Go ahead.
whenever I'm out with my kids, I'll have like someone, dude. Like I'll be walking the dogs and the stroller and stuff like that, and inevitably someone will come screeching to a halt, like in the middle of the road. And I'm like, "What's going on?" And then they'll be like, "Waiting to go, Dad." Like, and I'm like, "Okay, thank you, but like, what are you doing? Like, don't get in an accident." Like every time. like that I'm out, like it happens, and it's really weird because my wife never gets like, way to go, mom, or sometimes she'll get like, wow, you got a lot on your hands, but not like wow, not a bewilderment that like, wow, you're able to do this. And so there is kind of like a weird thing that happens like with I would say people having kids and being out, and I don't know, but this is, that does happen, but then that's not what this is like talking about. I feel like this is kind of like these guys like hijacking this whole idea and like being the victim now. And so
Yeah, it's like forced feminization is like the line they use.
yeah. So I think that there
But
is
I was
like a
just-
legitimate like conversation to be had, but they're definitely not having it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there is a need on the left and like the PC sphere for like some sort of identity for white cis men, like white cis straight men, but we don't really have that. So a lot of them end up clinging to this like anti-feminism thing, which I
So
think is
what-
an important point to
Mhm.
acknowledge, because empathy.
Yeah, because a lot of it is about like deconstructing like current structures and recognizing like toxic masculinity and the kind of patriarchal
But what does
society
that
we
leave
exist
them
with under.
with? you
Yeah,
know?
if
Yeah.
that's their entire existence, if that's their whole identity, where do they go from there? We often fall short. I think Professor Q and I were talking about this. What's it called? Like how Marxists are able to critique very well, but the prescriptive arguments, the policies, is where we always fall short.
Yeah, imminent critique.
There we go.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, critiquing systems is good, but the problem is there's like a vacuum being created for these men who don't have anything to like identify with. So
Yeah,
Well,
so the imminent critique thing is just this part that it's an article written by what's now a really good friend of mine, hard to believe, but most people understand Marx's critique of the economy and whatnot, but they don't understand. He also said you have to identify and shine a light forward as to how to progress. Now, his vision of that is a little off, but at least he provided some kind of resolution.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's one of those things where like, why identify yourself? There's you personally, and then there's like the system that exists, and you don't have to, just because you can identify that the system has been patriarchal for thousands and thousands of years, like doesn't mean that you yourself are like personifying that belief. You don't think as a system, you think as an individual. So separating yourself out from that and not just lumping yourself into that thing, I think is necessary.
True.
And a lot of the times when like leftists and social justice people like have these debates, they do the thing that the other party is guilty of, having these like debate lord moments with stuff that doesn't directly affect them, but it affects the other person. So it's a little more I don't know if I'm making sense, but like a lot of the times like these red-pilled men will come in and start arguing about like, oh well, if black people have such a hard time in this country, they'd be leaving in droves and that kind of stuff, like stuff that doesn't directly affect them, and then we're doing a similar thing. I know it's different because they have
it makes
higher,
sense though.
Yeah, they have the higher status socially, but like at the same time we're doing the exact same thing. We're debate lording on things that don't affect.
And what blows my mind is like
Directly.
that, like you can watch clips of that, like Too Fast, Too Fresh show or whatever they're doing, like on
Fresh and
YouTube.
Fit.
Yeah, and it's like it's so weird because for them it's like men need, this is my men's chance now, so now we got to bring you down. It's like, dang, dude, like what I don't understand the focus on like bringing people down. Just like build everyone up, man. It's like, it's okay. You want to feel validated, they want to feel validated. Like I don't understand treating people differently so differently than yourself. Like I think that is something that's important, not to think of treat everyone like you want to be treated, treat people how they want to be treated. Don't center yourself into their world, like that's actually kind of narcissistic if you think about it. Like
But that's easier said than done because
Yeah.
we get tied up in these, white patriarchy kind of thing, which is completely legitimate from a like systematic view, but like these individuals are suffering because they don't have anything to stand on.
What'd you get in your
aside
eye,
from-
Gremloe?
I got talkie dust in my eye.
Oh man, that's rough.
I'm sorry. Mommy, there's
exactly, like
tacky
a lot
dust
of-
in my eye.
Posturing and exactly.
Well, so let me, I guess, pose this question to all of you then, because obviously, like, I think we would all agree there is that need for that leftist, white, cis het male identity. But, like, what does that identity look like?
everyone's different, man. I mean, it doesn't have to be an identity. I think that's the big problem, is that people want to have that, one thing, and it's like, no, like that's the cool thing, is that everyone's their own thing, and recognizing that. And I don't know. I think that there is a big problem with, like, I mean, I guess if we're talking that specifically, then yeah, there's a huge problem with like fucking deadbeat dads, dude. And it's like there's a big problem with people normalizing. I do think that like divorce, especially breaking apart families and stuff, is not good. I with kids, I don't know how anyone does it with a single parent. I mean, it's just incredible if anyone can do it. I can't. There's no way that I could do it without a partner. So, and I think, like, look at Elon Musk, man. Everyone talks about Elon Musk and all this stuff, and it's like the dude literally has made so many bad decisions in the last year that resolve around like abandoning another family, another 2 kids that he's abandoned. Now he's going to be a deadbeat dad too. Like UNICEF like 3 months ago was like, hey, you want to solve like world hunger? We're going to give you like a plan. Here's a plan for $20 billion. He rejects it, buys Twitter instead for $40 billion. It's like, that doesn't, you know what I mean? Just like values. I feel like people's values, irrespective of their gender or their identity, is just, we choose to amplify these weird things, and then it's trickling down into these men's rights things, I think.
Well, yeah, but I think like what you're alluding to, I think somebody said it earlier. The fact that it's more of a, I guess, an easy transition and more of a comfortable space to exist in on the right, where it's a very like one size fits all. You can just join this reactionary school of thinking, just uniformly oppose SJW thinking and feminism and CRT. Like it's a very like plug and play turnkey worldview where you can just plug anybody into it. That's why they call it red pilling, right? Like you can just give somebody the pill and now they believe all the same shit that you do. That's why people almost meme about conservative people being video game NPCs, because they just go down the same dialogue tree of arguments a lot of the time. And I think you brought up a good point in that sort of on the left, things are more complicated, so it's more difficult to really just copy and paste a set of values onto somebody to give them some sort of identity or validated feeling in the space. But I guess at the same time, really where I was going is like, what do we do to appeal to that specific demographic? Maybe it doesn't have to manifest as a specific singular identity like taking the red pill. There's not going to really be a bread pill for them to take to be on the left, but like what is the framework in which we like talk to them and prevent them at least from falling farther right and ideally drag them left? Like, is it just Hassan style dirtbag leftist approach where you just ridicule right-wing positions constantly and make yourself look like you're your average everyday person? Like, I don't know, because Amber, you could probably attest to this. Like, this is a problem in our spaces. Like, when we go into laboratories and shit, like, science is just a microcosm of what's going on in the outside of academia. Like, we've got our own David Sabatini scandal with the dude being canceled, in the words of a college dean. There's protests going on about that guy being rehired. Like, it's all the same shit, just manifesting differently in a different set of circumstances. So that's why I kind of asked this question, because we can take this back to our spaces and implement something. But like, what is the something?
I think my mind has changed a lot watching ContraPoints, because Read and Rap posted like one of her videos about Jordan Peterson when we did that stream, and ever since I've been on a binge with her content, and it has just like really, I feel so at peace. Like, it's so weird to explain, but like I feel so at peace because like there is so much nuance to these issues that people don't really talk about, because it's harder than just generalizing and simplifying and making it an us versus them kind of thing. But her like Socratic discussions with herself are really enlightening, because you know that she has to step into that like mind space to be able to come up with the counterpoints. And I don't know, I just like her video about, I don't even remember which one it was, that mentioned the like space like identity for white straight cis men, but like
I think it was just titled men.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hadn't even thought of that. And that's like kind of shitty. Like I wish I had thought of that, but the fact that I know it now, and like that develops so much empathy for me, like when I eventually have a conversation with someone who's like in that mind space, to like approach them more, you know, composed and not just rage at them like the typical feminist leftist kind of thing.
But I think
Which makes
it's
them
about
more open to change.
it's
so.
about like framing issues rather than like, I feel like this particular image or something, because in their mind it's like a very like masculine, like alpha dog kind of like thing, and saying like, hey, you know, just there's a lot of different ways of expressing yourself, and you're choosing to express yourself or wanting to express yourself in that way, but there's a lot of different ways to exist in the world and to talk to more different, like a diverse amount of people, rather than, I don't know. It's just so toxic and frustrating, I guess, to people, to see people thinking that like that really alpha brain kind of mentality is really strong, is actually a sign. But in my mind, it's actually weakness, because it's like they're so insecure about themselves.
Yeah, well, and that also kind of interesting, I guess, tie-in. I think we all know the dude who came up with the alpha wolf shit. Like the actual researcher was like, that was actually a bad characterization. Please stop. Like, don't use that ever.
He
Just
pretty much
interesting
redacted
example.
his research.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's rare you see that coming from the person who put it out, unless there's some sort of like massive pressure for them to do it. But I think that also kind of goes to show that, like, hey, there's another example of how like not listening to a scientist just upended political discourse. Like, oh, here we go. The dude got taken way the fuck out of context, and now we've got semen retention alpha male algorithm channels on YouTube roping in
Soy increasing estrogen levels and
Oh,
reducing
God.
sperm count.
I don't understand people's obsession with the testosterone thing. Like, so in that Hunter Avalon debate, the guy kept bringing up, testosterone levels are low. It was like, well, that's not because like men are being feminized. It's because like, our culture, our economy, our lifestyles, our diets, all of these things, our medication, all of these things, the environment play a role in, how our bodies respond to, what's going on.
And it fluctuates like
And it
throughout the day,
fluctuates, yeah.
throughout your life, like so much.
Yeah,
But-
but they're like tying like testosterone levels to some kind of like identity.
Masculine
Yeah,
thinking.
exactly. It's very weird. I mean, to go see a doctor if you're feeling lethargic, you don't have energy,
Go
it doesn't.
HRT,
Maybe something's going on. Go see a
You'll know when you
therapist.
don't have enough testosterone because there are symptoms.
But I
What
think
do
it's
you
like
mean, Amber?
that testosterone is like somehow like a qualifier for like virtues, right?
Exactly.
Soy does
It's
not
so weird.
impact your testosterone levels. It has a plant chemical that is similar to estrogen in structure, not in function. I mean, it can bind to your estrogen receptors, but it doesn't do anything to humans. There was one study about it affecting sheep, but those are ruminants, not humans. We have one stomach. We can't digest plants that thoroughly to get like phytoestrogen. Thank you.
But
Yeah, there's a reason why I have a soy boy sticker on the back of my computer and drink nothing but soy milk. It's because I've done the research,
Attaboy.
brother.
Attaboy.
Oatmeal.
But I think a lot of these guys who fall into the MRA, MGTOW, for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, the men's rights activists, and MGTOW is men going their own way. It's very toxic. A lot of it is, I think, due to alienation. Not just that they're isolated from any kind of like good social structure, but that they have like been alienated from their selves, their own identity, from people in their community, and they're trying to replace that alienation, that sense of loss, with an identity with something larger than themselves, like masculinity, with like alpha culture or whatever
And
it
that's
is.
kind of like what I was trying to
Religion.
say earlier, is like they don't have like something to cling on to, like a mission in life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I think like leftism, our broader worldview, is healthier for them. Because one thing that I think people lose out on the conversation is like, you are hurting yourself when you do this. When you're doing this alpha stuff, you're actively hurting yourself and the people around you, and it's not good for you. You feel like the pain that you experience every day. So being more empathetic, and we can bring in like the 4 pillars thing that I've been trying to like become more concise with, of like empathy, egalitarianism. You can say anti-capitalism, but that's for later. And intersectionality. You as a worker connects you to way more than you being a masculine man. You being part of a class of people in a never-ending struggle throughout history. Like that's, that kind of plays within the mythology that they love so much. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
even doing things like the alpha, like being your own boss, like that kind of thing. I think you can like retool that and be like, yeah, guess what? With a democratically owned workplace, you are your own boss.
yeah.
I think like stealing that and using that messaging, like, but reframing it, man. Like if it's working with people, like how can we go into that mindset and then restructure it coming out? I think that's the
Marx's
idea.
alienation is like a good way to target it, but you would have to change the language, right? Because Marx said that we were alienated from ourselves, so from our labor, and from others. So in the same way that the current organization of our labor is done, that creates these externalities, the way that they are identifying themselves as like alpha masculine men does the same thing. You're creating more alienation for yourself, because your in-group of like alpha men is only going to get smaller and smaller. Because as time progresses, people are recognizing that like these values, these virtues are useless on the whole, and they don't really serve any purpose other than like self-aggrandizement. So your in-group is just going to get smaller and smaller. You're going to be more and more lonely. So I think that emotional appeal, because that's what this is, this alpha thing. It's an emotional response to their feelings of isolation and alienation.
Agreed.
So just
Solid
appealing to them
B.
with their emotions.
You missed one. I can't remember which one you missed.
Oh, of alienation? Yeah, there's
But-
4.
You are totally. So the reason I keep eating at the sociology trough, as it were, is because, and the reason I don't fit in very well within sociology circles, is because you guys are expressing something that I've said for a really long time, which is there's great potential within sociology to act as an interpreter, right? To reach out to these people and talk to them. And there actually is a whole tradition of this, but it kind of grew separate from Marx. And, there are people who've attempted to kind of unite these two efforts. But yeah, I'm subtly optimistic, right? That you can reach out and talk to these people and meet them where they're at.
Oh, you absolutely can. I mean, hell, that's like part of what we do on Twitch, right? Twitch is a male-dominated platform. From the Gamergate era, it's very toxic. So, I mean, everything that we do here is kind of the same thing. It's just like, what steps are we taking to achieve those ends?
It's funny to me when men always make the like titty streamer comment, but the top 100 streamers on Twitch, 3 of them are women.
We had a conversation about that on stream the other day, just about breaking down the finances.
Grinds my fucking gears, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man, the fucking titty streamer comments. Ooh. First of all, it's none of your fucking business. Second of all, they don't make any more money than any of the big men streamers. So.
Yeah.
No,
Also,
let 'em
you
on.
Spend that much money at Sephora and see how much you're, netting in profit after, after taxes.
Do you know how much these falsies cost? I'm doing 2 falsies, 2 sets of falsies every stream.
Yeah.
All right, let's not shame the appearance.
Bro, that was more of a
2 is a lot.
You're just burning through money trying to make
Talking about the
yourself
cost.
look a certain way for a stream, which is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just expensive.
Yeah. Time and money, dude.
Yeah, this sounds like some proto-misogyny, my dudes.
You think so?
I've been
Yeah.
quiet this whole time. Just
Oh, I was just
FYI.
talking about how
Oh,
it's
I'm not gonna
just,
be quiet.
No, I was just talking to my chat, and maybe you could redirect me in the right area about
me
how people think it's turn on camera, be hot, flirt with chat, and profit. When it's like no, like one, being on camera and subjecting yourself to chatters on Twitch, that already is like mentally taxing. You have to keep yourself depending on what
I was
kind of
saying the
audience.
makeup comments were a little
Oh yeah. No, I was just talking
proto-misogynistic.
about like cost.
Right, but I don't know. Those were just a little like.
No. If you feel like it was out of pocket, no, let me know.
I don't know. I
think
don't know how to
think,
go about this.
No,
I
you're
think
good.
what Gremloe might have been saying, and I could be completely fucking wrong.
Or
so
it
tell
costs
me.
money to get like the views. Is that what you mean? Like,
No, I'm saying like if you are someone who is like a hot tub streamer, whatever we want to define these, like Amaranth or Alinity, right? There is a time and money sink that happens into these
Right.
streams that people don't account for, where they think the perception is just like, oh, we'll turn on camera, be hot, profit. When no, there's so much time and so much effort that goes into these things that, given the opportunity to, step in the shoes of someone like Amaranth, no, they wouldn't do it because it's so difficult. It's
I mean,
not
that's
just-
like most streams, though. Like, most people don't perceive the amount of work that goes into streaming. They just assume you turn on your camera and that's fucking it. You play
Right.
video games or talk about politics or science, and then that's a wrap. But there's more to it than that. And, like, I may be weird, but I spend, like, 20, 30 minutes on my makeup. That's it. And that's not, like, a long time. But I don't know. Even like the makeup thing is not for other people, it's for me. And I know
Right.
that a lot of women say the same thing. So I don't know. The makeup comments just came off kind of like, oh, like they spend all this money on makeup to look good for the viewers kind of thing. Which, I mean, even if that's the case, like, who fucking cares? But
right. The
Right.
makeup thing
Just
wasn't
from
like
my,
a central
like,
part of it, but yeah, I
my
can see what you're saying.
perception of the world that like flipped a switch, and I was like,
Yeah, I can see how.
I've heard this
yeah.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more that there's just a material cost to the labor that streamers do just collectively. But I mean, even take the makeup out of the equation. Like, Amaranth has bought so many fucking like ASMR plastic ears. You got
It's up to 2
fucking
sets, dude.
inflatable pools. Like, there's actual material goods that go into creating that kind of a stream, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just like Gremloe said, people don't have the production perception. Like, they don't see anything behind the scenes. They don't know how the sausage is made, and then will be reduced to making offhand comments of look, Amaranth looks really hot today because of this new bikini she bought with my sub money or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
that's your average Twitch chatter and Amaranth's chat, but they don't actually realize like this is fucking labor. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need proof, just go look at old photos of Hassan versus today.
I don't know what you guys mean, dude. What are you talking about?
Is that your Hassan?
Fucking
It's
thing is, like, sucked
the old
life
Mike
out of it.
Hassan where he's not boosting his bass with his SM7B.
Oh.
He's just super high voice.
He had a bit of that today with his COVID voice.
COVID, yeah.
He's not doing the shtick anymore. It's kind of
What's sexualized about it, Morber? I'm
Oh, hang on.
curious.
Ooh,
Uh,
chatter chiming
Twitch
in.
doesn't really feel like the appropriate platform for sexualized content.
What? Why?
Yeah, I mean, I just want like an explanation, I guess, of why
yeah,
you think
there's
that.
a lot of self-inflicted misogyny about makeup, and you know what? You do you.
I mean, we got Lobster Daddy to thank for that in some capacity.
Yep.
Dude, I can't wait, man. I'm gonna like my daughters. I can't wait to braid their hair and like braid mine and do all that, like paint nails and all that kind of stuff. I'm excited to like learn with them. So,
Have you learned how to braid yet?
I know how to braid hair. But I don't know how to French braid. I want to take it to my.
Oh, yeah,
I want to go to
that's
the
a
next
whole
level.
Different animal.
My
Yeah.
dad used to braid my hair. He was a Marine for 20 years.
Cool.
I love.
He was also
braiding
my Girl
Becca's hair.
Scout leader.
No, that's cool.
Oh, that's
The
awesome.
definition of non-toxic masculinity. Waiting for the explanation.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that stuff personally.
Yeah.
I think.
I mean, these are all skills that I don't have. You're ahead of me in that respect. I mean, I can't braid this shit.
Don't worry, dude. You'll get a himbo that'll let you braid his hair one day.
One day,
Yeah.
Dreams.
but until
Oh
then,
my god.
Don't let dreams be dreams.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, talking about not being a deadbeat
I guess
dad,
they're not
I gotta
gonna-
go. I gotta go be a dad. Do that
Great
stuff.
transition.
yeah. Do we want to wrap it up here? It's been almost 4 hours. Like,
Really?
Oh, holy shit, man.
yeah,
Oh,
we
wow.
have really good discussion, you guys. Like, even if we're just shooting the breeze, it's always good.
To be honest, I kind of like the freeform ministry better. Like personally, just from my experience as a panelist, I think they're more fun.
They might be more approachable. At least like having
Yeah.
a loose topic.
Yeah, I think we'll.
Just, you know,
Go ahead.
I don't know. That was just something I thought of.
No, I mean that makes sense. I think if we have like guests on, especially if they're like coming from academia and they don't like
Well,
know
yeah.
what Twitch is, we would just want to like let them know that it's going to be a little bit more freeform and they can kind of like let their hair down a little bit. They don't have to be so like prim and proper like they have to in the ivory tower. They can actually like enjoy their fucking selves.
Yeah, I'm not like this at work.
I swear, if I was
My
like
boss
this at
would
work,
disown me so quick.
This is my work, so
Actually, I'm more dressed up right now than I usually am when I go into the office. So
and I can dig that. I mean, I'm wearing political T-shirts or gay frogs half the time when I go into labs, so I vibe with that, Professor Q.
shit, we're still going, and Greg's trying to leave. So
No, that's cool.
Yep, yeah. So let's
you
go
guys can
around the
keep
horn
going. I gotta-
and do
it's cool.
shout outs if we all want to call it. But Greg, regardless, go ahead and shout yourself out.
Yeah, my name's Greg. I do science communication, or on my YouTube channel. It's all the cool shit that's happening in science that nobody's talking about. So, I'm finishing up a manuscript. I'm so excited in the next 2 weeks, and then gonna start doing some more stuff. I just passed 100 subscribers on my YouTube, so that's kind of cool. And
Nice.
my
Let's
conversation with Haas is at 954 views, man. Holy shit! My
shit,
past,
wow.
Almost in 4 digits. Let's go.
yeah, it like doubled in the last week. It's since he's gotten banned, man. Everyone's like, everyone's Google searching
he
his
go?
name
Did
and
he
then
go on
finding
Cozy?
that. It's
Yeah,
really
I think
cool.
he's on Cozy now.
It's cool. So yeah, it's been fun.
Him and fucking Tinkle.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Pink
yeah.
L.
So
Yeah,
funny.
that's right.
So cringe.
Hacks and Tink L.
Those guys. So anyway, that guy actually came when I was talking to Haas. I don't read chat when I'm having these conversations. I just kind of like talk to the person, right? So and then I was watching Rhizome, and Rhizome's like, dude, this guy's calling you an NPC, and just he's spamming it, spam, NPC, and it's just like, geez, it was really funny.
Very toxic.
Yeah, dude. I was like, just because I was saying like, oh, interesting. Like I wasn't trying to, like I was trying to be respectful to him, and I thought I was, and I wouldn't handle it any
No,
other
you
way. But
We're definitely more respectful than a lot of your peers on this platform would be.
so I appreciate that. So yeah, it was funny. It's just, I don't understand. I guess it can be like to those guys, like beta, right? Then their mindset, right? Going back to it, like, oh, you're listening to other people as opposed to like yelling at people. That's so beta, But I don't care. I like talking to people that I disagree with, and it's interesting conversations. So yeah. So thanks everyone. I gotta go though. So
All right.
We love you.
adios. Thank you so much.
Later, dude.
See ya.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, everyone. Okay. Yeah, that was Dr. Buenabuen. He's on sometime, and it's all good. He's just on and off sometimes on Thursdays, and yeah, he does a Sunday show. He actually streams every day, so he does an early morning stream, so maybe that's why it's not like lining up. So, well, thanks for watching, and I appreciate